What would happen if WWE 12's universe mode was taken over by ChatGPT? We've already uncovered a wild year of twists and turns in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011's universe mode, and the chatbot is back in control for more pandemonium within the WWE universe, ready to continue where we left off last time, just after WrestleMania 26. Let's get into it. Monday Night Raw opens with the new WWE Champion, Kane, in the ring. Kane has declared a new day of evil upon the WWE, warning all competitors. Triple H would interrupt the champion, telling him that Kane's dominance does not intimidate the game. They exchange heated words, leading to an announcement of a non-title main event between the two for later. The first match would feature United States Champion John Cena defeating Ezekiel Jackson in singles competition. Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio would go head-to-head in the next match. This was a fast-paced encounter that featured two prominent players in the WWE. Orton wins after a competitive match, signaling that he's refocused and ready to climb back up the ladder. Beth Phoenix is interviewed backstage as the news is broken that Gail Kim, the undisputed women's champion, had left WWE for a different company, leaving the WWE with no women's champion. Beth demands that she is named champion immediately. In the main event of the evening, Triple H is going one-on-one with the WWE champion in a non-title match. If Triple H could secure the victory here, he would certainly see his way to the top of the pecking order, though Kane has been dominant as of late, and this would be no easy feat. This was a hard-hitting match, ending in a no contest when Mark Henry interferes, targeting Triple H and leaving the game down to end the show. Over on SmackDown, General Manager GPT is in the ring, with the announcement that both Shelton Benjamin and Rob Van Dam suffered severe injuries after their clash at WrestleMania, leaving the Intercontinental Championship vacant. An interpromotional tournament has been announced, where a champion will be crowned at the next pay-per-view. That tournament will begin right away, with the first match of the night as Cody Rhodes and Evan Bourne are the first two competitors we'll see. The two put on an exciting contest to set the tone for the tournament, and Cody Rhodes wins after countering Bourne's high-flying moves into a vicious DDT, moving forward to the semi-finals. The confidence of Cody Rhodes is on full display, declaring himself a future champion. Alberto Del Rio arrives at SmackDown, ready to make his first appearance on WWE programming. Del Rio is given a lengthy segment to introduce himself to the WWE fans. He tells the audience they should be honored to witness the arrival of, quote, Mexico's greatest export and a true champion who will take the WWE to new heights. CM Punk would interrupt Del Rio, eventually leading to a match between the two made for this evening. Drew McIntyre and Jack Swagger have formed an unlikely alliance and are set to compete against the team of Chavo Guerrero and Kofi Kingston. Swagger and McIntyre have high expectations, though after suffering a surprising loss, tension between Swagger and McIntyre hints at potential animosity. CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio meet in the main event of the night. Del Rio is making his debut in extravagant fashion as he is taking on a former world champion. Alberto Del Rio immediately proved his worth in the ring as he took Punk to his limits. The match would eventually end by countout, giving Del Rio the win, though with a large asterisk attached to it. The next episode of Raw opens up with Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. backstage discussing what they should do about Batista leaving the WWE on his own accord following WrestleMania. The two decide they need to find a new enforcer for the group. John Morrison goes one-on-one with Ezekiel Jackson to kick off the in-ring competition. Morrison picks up a win and sends a message to John Cena, who's seen watching backstage. John Morrison motions to the champion, teasing a future clash for the US Championship. Beth Phoenix defeats Kelly Kelly in singles action to further reinforce her claim as the best of the women's division. Kofi Kingston is set to continue the Intercontinental title tournament against a debuting Wade Barrett, the breakout star from NXT. After an intense back and forth, Barrett is able to come out on top. After the match, Wade Barrett taunts the crowd, claiming he's destined to claim gold. The main event features Triple H getting his shot at revenge against Mark Henry after last week's attack. Mark Henry has made it clear he's determined to change the course of his career by aid of his unrelenting aggression. This match is highly contested, and Triple H wins with a pedigree, but is ambushed by Kane post-match, showing the champion isn't going to back down. SmackDown opens up with the Money in the Bank winner, The Miz, taking on Chavo Guerrero in one-on-one competition, where The Miz wins convincingly. The Miz would go on to warn the WWE that with the help of his Money in the Bank briefcase, he will return to the top of the mountain. CM Punk calls Alberto Del Rio out, accusing him of taking shortcuts and challenging him to a fair rematch. Del Rio laughs it off, claiming Punk is beneath him and that, quote, aristocrats don't answer to commoners. Jack Swagger and Drew McIntyre continue the Intercontinental title tournament. These two recently formed an alliance but show no reservations to beat the other down in order to advance closer towards championship glory. It was an extremely hard-hitting match, but Jack Swagger would come out on top here. The main event brings upon CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio being forced to coexist as tag team partners, as they must face World Heavyweight Champion The Undertaker and #1 contender The Big Show. However, Del Rio doesn't show. CM Punk is prepared and debuts a new protege, that being Husky Harris. The two go on to bring the fight to the Deadman and his challenger, until Alberto Del Rio not only interrupted the match, but brutalized CM Punk with a vicious chair shot, leaving the match to be called off. Del Rio walks away, relishing Punk's anguish. Raw is kickstarted with the tag team champions in action as they defend their titles against Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu. The crowd was treated to a highly entertaining match that in the end saw the champions retain their titles. Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu share a tense encounter as frustrations loom from their shortcomings. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. are shown looking at a list of possible enforcers to replace Batista. Ryder states they need someone huge, someone who strikes fear like Batista. Suddenly, Mason Ryan walks by, and they both do a double take, eyes wide. The Intercontinental title tournament continues as Randy Orton and The Miz go head-to-head. Randy Orton wins after avoiding The Miz's skull-crushing finale and landing an RKO, advancing him to the semi-finals. In a shocking turn of events, The Miz would seem to have suffered a serious injury, as he was taken out of the ring area on a stretcher. John Morrison and John Cena share a tense backstage moment. Morrison asks if Cena is prepared to give him his well-deserved title shot. Cena accepts, setting the stage for a match next week. The main event of Raw has got Kane and Mark Henry teaming against Triple H and former WWE Champion Sheamus. This was a battle featuring 4 heavy hitters, and neither of them were going to go down easily. The power of each competitor was on display here, but it would be the team of Triple H and Sheamus walking out on top after getting the pin on Mark Henry. CM Punk opens up SmackDown, furious and demanding a match with Alberto Del Rio, promising to expose him as a fraud. Del Rio appears on the Titantron from a remote, luxurious villa, sipping champagne. He tells CM Punk he's not worth the travel, and mocks his pathetic obsession with proving himself. To start the in-ring action, Eve Torres, Maurice, and Layla compete in a triple threat to attempt to add some clarity to the rightful contender for the vacant Women's Championship. These ladies put on an exciting match that in the end saw Layla come out on top. The semi-finals of the Intercontinental title tournament commence as we have got Cody Rhodes going one-on-one with the newcomer Wade Barrett. Barrett was dominant in his first match against a formidable opponent, and Cody Rhodes will certainly pose another challenge. Though Barrett's potential is clear as he once again scores a convincing victory, securing his place in the title match at the pay-per-view. Drew McIntyre is seeking to make an impact here in the main event, as he is set to go one-on-one with the #1 contender to The Undertaker's world title, Big Show. McIntyre is a tough competitor, but Big Show displays why he's the #1 contender and secures a big victory here. On the next episode of Raw, Kane and Triple H come face to face once more before their pay-per-view clash. A brawl would erupt between the two, where Kane would narrowly escape taking a pedigree. Beth Phoenix comes out on top in a singles match against Natalya. It is then announced a women's champion will be determined at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. The semifinals of the Intercontinental title tournament continued, and the final competitor of the title match would be determined here as Randy Orton and Jack Swagger were set to compete in a highly competitive contest. Neither man was willing to give in as the opportunity to reclaim some serious momentum and attention in the main event scene was on the table. However, something had to give, and eventually Randy Orton was able to come out on top after hitting an RKO, finalizing the Intercontinental Championship match at Extreme Rules as Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. bring Mason Ryan out to the ring to introduce him as the latest addition to their stable, the VIP. Zack Ryder announces Mason Ryan as, quote, Batista 2.0, unquote, which gets a look from Ryan, though he goes along with it. Main event time here on the final Raw before Extreme Rules. The big match Johns are set to go one-on-one with the United States Championship on the line. There's a big fight feel as the WrestleMania rematch commenced, and these two had built quite the history with one another. The former tag team champions left no hesitation to beat the other down to become champion, and while their previous contest ended honorably, this time John Morrison would strike Cena down with a chair while the ref was unaware, making way for Morrison to capitalize and become the new United States champion in a shocking change of hands, ending what was once a rock-solid friendship. The next episode of SmackDown is the go-home show before the pay-per-view, and it is set to get started with Chavo Guerrero in the ring. He's holding the retired Cruiserweight Championship. Frustrated by feeling overlooked, Chavo is bringing back the Cruiserweight Championship to re-establish his legacy. Chavo's goal is clear: prove he is the best cruiserweight in WWE history. To open up the in-ring action, CM Punk finds himself going one-on-one with Yoshitatsu. Punk dedicates this match to proving Del Rio's lies, and CM Punk would go on to win in decisive fashion, and then address Del Rio directly, claiming he'll go through any challenge until Del Rio faces him like a man. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton are set to compete in the next match of the evening. Wade Barrett came to get a closer look from ringside, as he'll be squaring off against Randy Orton Sunday for the vacant Intercontinental Championship. Randy Orton looked dominant in this match, but Wade Barrett is also very confident, creating tensions heading into the championship clash. One half of the tag team champions, Christian, faces off with #1 contender Big Show in a big main event before Extreme Rules. These two are no strangers to the main event scene, and each has a reason to build as much momentum as possible going forward. Big Show would eventually go on to secure a victory here by consistently hitting his powerful moves, and with this victory, Big Show would send a message warning The Undertaker will be the one to rest in peace. We've arrived at Extreme Rules, and the night will begin with Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. The finals of the tournament to fill the vacancy of the Intercontinental title comes to fruition as two competitors compete to grab the title suspended above the ring. After a brutal and high-stakes match, Orton's experience with mind games allowed him to outsmart Barrett. He knocked Barrett off the ladder, and just before he retrieved the Intercontinental Championship, Wade Barrett's backup known as the Nexus would come out and obliterate Randy Orton. This would allow Barrett to collect himself and secure the victory. CM Punk seeks to humble Alberto Del Rio in a high-profile one-on-one showdown trapped inside a steel cage. Alberto Del Rio's arrival in WWE was marked by arrogance and inflated sense of superiority. He claimed that he was destined to be the next top star in WWE, aligning with his wealth and noble background. CM Punk, the self-proclaimed savior of WWE, took exception to Del Rio's attitude. Inside the cage, CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio delivered an intense battle. Punk's drive to humble Del Rio was matched by Del Rio's cunning attempts to outsmart his opposition. In the end, Alberto Del Rio emerged victorious after making his way out of the steel cage door, further bolstering his cocky and entitled attitude. A new women's champion will be crowned in the next match, as a championship scramble has been booked to determine who will fill the vacancy left behind by Gail Kim. Layla and Natalya began the match, and more competitors would fill the ring as time went on. Every single one of these ladies made it clear that they intend on becoming champion, however there can only be one. Layla delivered an X-Factor in the middle of the match that would be the only pinfall of the championship scramble, crowning an unlikely contender as the new champion. After The Undertaker defeated several top competitors on his path to once again win the World Heavyweight Championship, Big Show stepped up to challenge the dead man, claiming that he is the only one capable of putting the Phenom down for good. Big Show cited their history dating back to their brutal matches in the past, and argued that no one else could withstand the punishment required to dethrone The Undertaker. This would lead to a punishing last man standing match between these two behemoths. This match was a war of attrition. The ring struggled to contain the immense force of both men as they traded powerful blows. The action spilled out in the ring, and they used everything at their disposal: steel steps, chairs, and the barricade. Big Show came close to winning multiple times, but Undertaker's resilience kept him in the fight. In the final moments, Undertaker somehow delivered a tombstone piledriver on the outside to the world's largest athlete, knocking Big Show out cold for the 10 count. The Phenom stood tall, retaining his World Heavyweight Championship. The main event has got Triple H and Kane squaring off in a no-holds-barred match for the WWE Championship. Kane had captured the WWE title after a dominant, destructive streak on Raw, unleashing a reign of terror on the roster. However, Triple H took issue with Kane's unchecked rage and declared that the WWE Championship deserved to be held by someone who could lead the company, not destroy it. The hardcore match was filled with chaos and carnage. Both men used weapons to their advantage, and anything they could get their hands on were brought into play. Despite Triple H's experience and tenacity, Kane's unrelenting fury proved too much. In the end, Kane chokeslammed Triple H through a flaming table and pinned him to retain the WWE Championship. Kane's reign of terror would continue as he stood over Triple H's broken body. The following night on Raw, it was announced the WWE had undergone a draft. Rather than matches determining draft picks will be revealed by competing in matches to represent their brands. The first match features the tag team champions Edge and Christian, being pitted against one another as it's announced the two have been split, with Christian being sent to SmackDown. These two put on a great match, keeping the fans on the edge of their seats with near falls and impactful offense. In the end, it was Christian to pick up the win. It's announced the two will continue to defend the tag team titles despite being on opposite brands. The next match will determine the #1 contenders for those very tag team titles, as Yoshitatsu and Evan Bourne are set to represent SmackDown, while Ted DiBiase Jr. and Zack Ryder are to represent Raw. The exciting styles of Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu were on full display. However, DiBiase and Ryder were able to secure another title match for these two thanks to some help from Mason Ryan, as well as the underhanded tactics in the ring. The main event will consist of Rey Mysterio, who will once again be calling SmackDown home, going up against the newest member of the Raw roster making his WWE debut, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan had established his in-ring capabilities upon reaching the main roster, and these two put on a phenomenal match. Daniel Bryan is determined to make a name for himself, and Rey is keen on kicking off his return to SmackDown on a high note. In the end, it would be Rey Mysterio to come out on top to end the show. On the next episode of SmackDown, the newly drafted talents continue to face off to determine the best picks, and also add a little bit of tribalism, of course. The action continues as a fatal 4-way is held between Dolph Ziggler, Vladimir Kozlov, Cody Rhodes, and Mark Henry, all of which will be calling a new brand home. This action-packed fatal 4-way was punishing to all competitors involved, though it was Dolph Ziggler who was able to secure the victory amongst all the commotion. The next match of the night features two champions competing against one another. United States Champion John Morrison met Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett in the middle of the ring, and while Morrison may be staying on Raw, there's a mutual desire to prove their title as superior. Kofi Kingston even came out for a closer look. These two champions impressed and really put on a great match for those in attendance, and when the smoke cleared, it was Wade Barrett who came out on top. The main event of the night consists of arguably the two biggest transactions for each brand, as Monday Night Raw's newest acquisition is also physically the largest. The Big Show says goodbye to SmackDown in a match against former WWE Champion Sheamus. This was an extremely physical matchup, and each wrestler had the opportunity to display the power and explosiveness they're going to bring to their new brands. Big Show nearly wrapped things up with a huge right hand. However, Sheamus was able to land a big brogue kick that would keep the Giant down for the 3 count. After the match, Sheamus made it unmistakably clear that he intends on dominating SmackDown and capturing the World Heavyweight Championship, but is interrupted by a freshly changed Mark Henry. The next week's episode of Monday Night Raw opens up with something that I swear is 1000% all ChatGPT. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. in the ring alongside their newest partner Mason Ryan, where they introduced the Batistometer, a goofy scale they bring backstage to compare Ryan's resemblance to Batista. Ryder says, "Every time Mason Ryan does something Batista-like, we go up a level on the Batistometer." Soon after, Mason Ryan faced off against R-Truth in a competitive match. Ryder and DiBiase watch from ringside and cheer every time Ryan uses a power move. They hold up signs saying things like 85% Batista. With each move, Mason Ryan would finish off R-Truth and collect his first victory. After the match, Ryder and DiBiase declare Ryan has officially reached full Batista mode. Mason Ryan, slightly irritated, tells them that he's not trying to be Batista but is willing to help the team succeed. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase nervously agree but still whisper about the Batistometer as they head up the entrance ramp. Meanwhile, R-Truth has trouble dealing with another frustrating loss and takes it out on the announce table. New member of the Raw roster, Dolph Ziggler, is set to go one-on-one with Goldust and is able to pick up a convincing victory. In the main event, 3 huge stars are going to compete in a triple threat to establish Kane's next challenger. Randy Orton, Big Show, and Triple H are all geared up and ready to go as they attempt to one-up each of their oppositions. Each of these men were in a title match at the previous pay-per-view, but only one will have that opportunity come over the limit. It was a highly competitive match where all 3 men had strong moments, but in the end, it would be Randy Orton to hit an RKO and seize the opportunity to walk out of this match with a title shot against Kane. Over on SmackDown, the show opens up with a somber moment. The announcement that The Undertaker suffered a severely serious injury during his title defense at Extreme Rules. With his future in question, Taker is forced to vacate the World Championship. The WWE Universe is in shock that they may be forced to say goodbye to the dead man. Chavo Guerrero is shown speaking with General Manager GPT, where he is informed the Cruiserweight title will in fact return. However, it will not just be handed over to him. This would quickly lead to the first match of the night, with a highly contested match between Tyson Kidd and Chavo Guerrero. This is a clash between two guys with exceptional technical prowess, keeping the match competitive. In the end, Chavo hits a frog splash to grab the singles victory. In the next segment, Alberto Del Rio is in the ring, boasting about his victory over CM Punk at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. He talks about how he humbled CM Punk and proved himself as the savior of SmackDown. CM Punk interrupts, visibly frustrated, and calls Del Rio a fraud, vowing to take him down. Alberto Del Rio, in his usual arrogance, claims CM Punk has no right to challenge him again, leading to General Manager GPT coming out and announcing that the two will both play a hand in determining the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. The next match has Wade Barrett leading the charge alongside Justin Gabriel and David Otunga as they take on the team of Evan Bourne, Yoshitatsu, and Kofi Kingston. Justin Gabriel's high-flying ability complements David Otunga's power, with Wade Barrett directing the traffic. Despite a strong showing from Kofi Kingston, the numbers game and ringside distractions from Nexus members allowed Barrett to hit the wasteland on Tatsu for the pinfall. The main event features two combatants that were brought over from Raw, as well as two former world champions. Christian and Rey Mysterio are going to go head-to-head to establish who can take the next step in challenging for a world title. While these two put on an exceptional match for the fans in attendance, it was cut short after Sheamus and Mark Henry crashed the scene, taking out the hopeful contenders and calling out the injustice that they have been left out of the title picture. On the next episode of Raw, John Cena and John Morrison come face-to-face for the first time since Morrison stabbed Cena in the back. John Cena denounces Morrison's action, while John Morrison claimed to have done what he did in the name of the business, and was tired of standing in Cena's shadow. The tension is clear, and John Cena makes a challenge for a rematch at Over the Limit. R-Truth is looking to gain some momentum with a victory over Cody Rhodes following his loss last week, though his bad luck would continue as Cody Rhodes would hit a big DDT and collect the victory. Backstage, Zack Ryder and DiBiase attempt to teach Mason and Ryan how to be more intimidating, bringing back the Batista meter. Ryan finally confronts them, tired of the comparisons. In the next contest, Dolph Ziggler aims to move up the ranks and is slated to go up against William Regal. This was a tightly contested match where William Regal tries to use his veteran tricks, but Ziggler is able to avoid the dirty tactics and take the match with a zigzag. Before the main event began, Randy Orton was found attacked and knocked out backstage. Kane then comes to the ring, seemingly with no challenger until Triple H comes out in place of the Viper. A physical match would ensue, and these two are very familiar with one another. Triple H pulled out all the stops and did everything he could to neutralize the Big Red Machine, though Kane's unrelenting power would be enough to overcome Triple H and secure the victory. SmackDown opens up with Chavo Guerrero once again making his claim to be crowned Cruiserweight Champion after a decisive victory over Santino Marella. After the match, General Manager GPT announces Chavo will receive a title shot against a mystery opponent at the pay-per-view. In the next match, Christian is looking to gain a measure of revenge against Sheamus following last week's attack. Christian, a formidable competitor in his own right, couldn't handle Sheamus's intensity, proving him to be a legitimate threat to all of SmackDown. To close out the night, CM Punk and Rey Mysterio are set to take on the one-off duo of Alberto Del Rio and Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett, with the Nexus in attendance. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio work well together, using their speed and teamwork to keep Del Rio and Wade Barrett on the defensive. Wade Barrett and Alberto Del Rio, however, use their size and strength to wear down their opponents. In the end, CM Punk would score the pinfall victory over his rival. On the final episode of Raw before Over the Limit, Mason Ryan is put into a match against Goldust. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. are ringside, hyping this up as the match that will break the Batista meter. But after his victory, he finally dismantles the Batista meter in the ring, declaring that he is done with the comparisons. The next segment features Randy Orton accusing Triple H of attacking him last week. Triple H claims that he had nothing to do with the attack, but was happy to take advantage. Randy Orton doesn't believe the game and makes a challenge for a no disqualification match for tonight's main event. The new women's champion Layla is set to go one-on-one with Kelly Kelly. The champion puts forth an impressive performance as she picks up a victory. An intense and brutal match between Randy Orton and Triple H headlines the night. Both men utilize weapons and take full advantage of the no rules stipulation. Both of these guys are going to be in the WWE title match come Sunday, but this is about getting even. at least in the eyes of Randy Orton, who believes Triple H carried out an attack on him last week. Personal animosity was at the forefront here, and it showed. In the end, Randy Orton would take care of business, now directing his attention on taking the WWE title on Sunday. Over the Limit is just days away, and this episode of SmackDown is kicked off with Sheamus standing in the ring, declaring to the WWE Universe that they will soon have a champion they can rely on, as he will be the savior SmackDown has needed. The first match of the night, Christian and Jack Swagger. These two are vying to regain some footing in the singles division, and they go on to have a competitive bout here. The fans were given a treat, as these guys gave it everything they had to deliver an exciting match. Momentum was juggled, but the match eventually began to wind down, with Swagger using his technical wrestling to ground Christian. However, Christian uses his veteran savvy, outmaneuvering Swagger for the win. Wade Barrett is looking to make a statement following being a part of the tag team loss last week, and is able to do so after a brutal display against Tyson Kidd. The main event features Rey Mysterio looking to gain a measure of revenge against Mark Henry following his attack weeks ago. Rey Mysterio shows no lack of heart and fights admirably, but Mark Henry overpowers Rey en route to a victory, leaving even more questions in the world title scene than before. It's time for Over the Limit, and to kick off the night, Chavo Guerrero makes his way to the ring to challenge for the vacant Cruiserweight title. Chavo would be surprised by someone he hadn't seen before in the WWE, the debuting Sin Cara. Sin Cara displayed electrifying, high-flying moves to neutralize Chavo Guerrero. Chavo would fight back, but ultimately fell short in his goal to reclaim the Cruiserweight title, as the debuting Sin Cara was the one to walk out on top and the new Cruiserweight champion. Wade Barrett, with the backing of the Nexus, makes his way to the ring for an open challenge. That open challenge would be answered by Kofi Kingston. Kingston would absolutely bring it to the champion, proving he's still got it as a singles competitor. However, thanks to Wade Barrett's power as well as the interference from Nexus, Barrett was able to overcome the challenge and secure his championship. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. have got the opportunity to reclaim the tag team championships against the very men that took them away. This time, Ryder and DiBiase have got the backing of Mason Ryan, despite there being a bit of tension in the group. The match was highly competitive, and eventually reaching a crucial point, Ryder was looking for assistance from Mason Ryan, clamoring he, quote, "do it like Batista." Pause. This would set Mason Ryan off, and finally had enough. The distraction allowed Edge and Christian to capitalize and retain the titles, while Mason Ryan cemented his intentions of leaving the group by attacking Zack Ryder. After John Morrison shockingly defeated John Cena to win the United States Championship in their last encounter, Cena demanded a rematch, blindsided by Morrison's underhanded tactics. Morrison taunted Cena by saying he had outsmarted him, and that Cena couldn't handle the new and improved Shaman of Sexy. The two would face off once again, with the stakes higher than ever as Cena looked to reclaim the title he once held dear, while Morrison sought to prove that his victory was not a fluke. The match is competitive, with both men showcasing their contrasting styles, Cena's power and resilience versus Morrison's flash and agility. John Cena gets the upper hand late in the match and sets up for the FU, but Morrison slips out of harm's way, creating an opportunity to completely flip the tables on John Cena, hitting Starship Pain to retain the United States Championship. Shocking John Cena once again, Kane is looking to continue his dominant reign as WWE Champion. However, he's got two huge stars vying for his title. Triple H and Randy Orton each have their reasons for why they believe they're deserving of the coveted championship. A chaotic match would take place, with each competitor delivering signature moves that kept the crowd on the edges of their seats. Triple H hit a pedigree looking to end the match, though Kane would deliver a grueling tombstone, allowing him to retain the WWE Championship in a chaotic triple threat. The main event of Over the Limit has been brought upon rather sporadically, as the World Heavyweight Championship was recently vacated due to the serious injury The Undertaker suffered. CM Punk, Alberto Del Rio, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Jack Swagger, and Mark Henry will clash to determine who should be the one to carry SmackDown. And one of the favorites to win, CM Punk, was surprisingly tossed out first by his rival Alberto Del Rio. Soon after, Rey Mysterio was eliminated from this battle royal, and Mark Henry was thrown out by Jack Swagger, who would be eliminated by Sheamus, leaving Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus as the final two men left in the ring. These two shared a brief battle, but in the end, Sheamus would be the one to call himself the last man standing, but more importantly, the new World Heavyweight Champion as the night came to an end. On the first episode of Raw, the show opens up with Triple H in the ring, reflecting on his recent loss to Kane in the WWE Championship Triple Threat match. He's interrupted by Randy Orton, who blames Triple H for his inability to capture the title. Tensions escalate, with both men exchanging harsh words. General Manager GPT announces a #1 contenders match between Orton and Triple H later in the night, with the winner facing Kane at the next pay-per-view. Mason Ryan is in the ring, addressing his decision to go solo. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase interrupt, mocking Ryan, suggesting he's out of his depth and can't make it without them. This would spark an impromptu match between Ryan and Ryder, where the two clashed in a bitter battle of feelings. Mason Ryan's power was on display and he would ultimately pick up the victory, although after the match, DiBiase blindsides Ryan and he and Ryder attack him, leaving him down in the ring as they taunt him about the mistake he made by leaving them. William Regal takes on R-Truth in a hard-hitting match. Regal's technical prowess challenges R-Truth, but R-Truth counters with his agility and speed. After a competitive contest, R-Truth secures a big victory. The main event brings Triple H and Randy Orton going head-to-head to determine the #1 contender for Kane's WWE Championship. In a physical and intense bout, both men bring their best. The match sees several near falls and crucial reversals, ending with Orton hitting an RKO for the win, earning his shot at the title at the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view. Over on SmackDown, Alberto Del Rio opens the show declaring himself the top contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sheamus interrupts, making it clear that he's willing to take on anyone at Fatal 4-Way. CM Punk then steps in, claiming his loss on Sunday was a fluke that won't happen again. The in-ring action opens up with an exciting matchup, Rey Mysterio vs Drew McIntyre. This makes for a strong start to SmackDown with Rey's quickness versus Drew's brute strength. Mysterio picks up the victory with a 619, impressing the crowd and strengthening his case to be considered a contender. In a backstage interview, Jack Swagger complains that he deserves to be in the title picture as well, mocking all of the potential contenders. Christian overhears and challenges Swagger to prove himself against him tonight. Chavo Guerrero and Yoshitatsu are set to compete in the next match. Chavo's frustration and disbelief of coming short in recapturing the Cruiserweight Championship is apparent here, as he picks up the level of aggression in his match. Yoshitatsu is a tough competitor, but Chavo steamrolls his opponent here. Main event time. Jack Swagger and Christian are going to bring their issues with one another to the ring. Jack Swagger uses his aggressive style, wearing Christian down throughout the contest. Christian wasn't going to back down, and was determined to regain footing in the main event scene. After a closely contested match, Jack Swagger delivers a gut-wrench powerbomb for the victory, sending a message that he intends to be in the title hunt. The show opens with WWE Champion Kane in the ring, delivering a menacing promo. He speaks about his dominance and how no one on Raw can match his ruthlessness, with Kane warning Orton that if he wants to challenge him, he better be prepared for the consequences. In a backstage interview, Mason Ryan vows to get even with Ryder and DiBiase for last week's ambush. He challenges DiBiase to a singles match tonight, declaring that he's not intimidated by either of them. The first match of the night has got the split-branded tag team champions taking on the team of Cody Rhodes and Dolph Ziggler. Rhodes and Ziggler have each picked up a bit of momentum since coming over to Monday nights, and an exciting match came about here. These two young stars in the making have got a huge opportunity to knock off some all-time greats in Edge and Christian, although they've got some work to do as the champions are able to stand tall here. Mason Ryan and Ted DiBiase are set to face off next. Ted DiBiase attempts to mitigate Ryan's power. However, the animal look-alike withstands the onslaught as well as an attempted interference by Zack Ryder. Mason Ryan comes away victorious, but after the match, an unhinged R-Truth takes out both competitors. In the main event, the WWE Champion Kane is in action against another powerful foe, Ezekiel Jackson. This was a clash that highlighted the ferocity of the WWE Champion, as Kane's disregard for his opponents is more than apparent as he dismantled a more than formidable opponent. The night ends with the champion making a statement that he has no intentions of being upstaged. To open the next episode of SmackDown, heavyweight champion Sheamus confronts general manager GPT, demanding that the Fatal 4-Way contenders be finalized tonight. The general manager agrees, announcing qualifying matches to finalize who will challenge for the title. In the first match of the night, Rey Mysterio and Mark Henry find themselves facing off once more. There's a severe size discrepancy between these two, but we know that's not going to stop Rey from giving Mark Henry a fight. Rey's agility would keep him in the match, but Mark Henry's strength would eventually overpower the luchador, with the victory going to the world's strongest man. The next qualifying match features the Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett going head-to-head with Jack Swagger. This is a hard-hitting match between two determined heavyweights. Wade Barrett has been building a bit of momentum as of late, but Jack Swagger has been on a roll and will truly pose a test. This match is tightly contested, with neither man able to establish any separation. The match would go on without a definite victor as Drew McIntyre interfered and sabotaged Jack Swagger, putting an end to their short-lived alliance, advancing Wade Barrett to the world title match at the pay-per-view. Chavo Guerrero confronts new Cruiserweight champion Sin Cara, claiming his days as champion are numbered and Chavo will take what is rightfully his. The main event of the evening has got two rivals eager to upstage the other, clashing in a big match to determine the final challenger at Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio hold nothing back when going at the other. Del Rio eager for his first taste of WWE Gold, and CM Punk focused to avenge his quick elimination at Over the Limit. Del Rio tries for the cross armbreaker, but Punk counters and nails a GTS for the win, earning a spot in the Fatal 4-Way. Back on Raw, #1 contender Randy Orton, who is scheduled in the main event, had been found severely beaten backstage yet again, leaving his status for not only tonight in question, but Sunday as well. Mason Ryan is scheduled for a match against a local competitor, but Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase attack him during his entrance, brutally ambushing him. They throw him into the ring and demand a referee start the match. The booked singles match is changed to a handicap match, and despite the numbers against him, Mason Ryan didn't back down and began to rally a comeback against his former stablemates. However, the damage done before the match was too much to overcome, and Ryder and DiBiase pick up a win over their former enforcer. Dolph Ziggler continues to collect momentum as he secures another victory on Raw, this time over R-Truth. The main event has got John Morrison and Big Show teaming against John Cena, seemingly without his supposed tag team partner, Randy Orton. However, Randy Orton miraculously makes his way to the ring to compete in the match this evening, showing his grit and determination to prove he won't be deterred. Kane crashes the match, targeting Orton. Kane then delivers a huge chokeslam through the announce table, with the show closing with a close-up of Kane standing over him with the WWE Championship raised, signaling that he's ready for their clash at the pay-per-view. On the final episode of SmackDown before the pay-per-view, CM Punk, Mark Henry, and Wade Barrett are in the ring, discussing the upcoming title match at the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view, with each challenger making their claim why they will be champion after Sunday. Sheamus interrupts, confident that he will overcome any challenge posed. Evan Bourne tries his hand with a new tag team partner, Kofi Kingston, as they take on the team of Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov. Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston make for an exciting pair, with a high-octane offense propelling them towards a victory. Backstage, Alberto Del Rio is livid after his loss to Punk. He issues a challenge to Christian, who is seen snickering at Del Rio, for a match, determined to show he's worthy of a title shot in the future. This bout would take place directly after the break, and Alberto Del Rio and Christian had locked horns. Both guys are on the outside looking in at the title match come Sunday, but can move themselves forward and back on track with a win here. This exchange went back and forth between two more than capable competitors, and in the end, Alberto Del Rio was able to secure a victory. Chavo Guerrero would pick up a win in cruiserweight action against Yoshitatsu, as he aims to make another challenge for the title in the near future. To add insult to injury, an unprovoked Maurice came to the ring and hit Tatsu with a low blow, truly kicking the man while he's down. Rey Mysterio cuts a promo about his title aspirations and intentions to stay on top of the match card. Wade Barrett interrupts this promo, stating Rey's time has passed him by. Mysterio would then challenge Barrett to a match for his spot in the Fatal 4-Way on Sunday. The Intercontinental Champion would accept the match, and the main event began. Rey and Barrett delivered another exciting bout, with a shot at the world title on the line. The match was intense, and neither man was going to give in easily. However, in the end, it was Wade Barrett who came away victorious and took the final place of the title match. The Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view is here, and to start the evening, we've got action in the women's division. Layla is set to defend her championship against Beth Phoenix, Eve Torres, and Natalya. Layla faces a steep challenge if she intends on retaining her title as women's champion, as she's got 3 competitors with their sights set on upending her title reign. An unpredictable Fatal 4-Way tables match would determine the champion walking out. While Beth Phoenix had been dominant within the women's division, the volatile nature of the match meant anybody could walk away victorious. In the end, it would be Beth Phoenix to come out on top after sending the champion through a table in a definitive conclusion. Sin Cara is set to make his first appearance as Cruiserweight Champion and will do so by putting his title on the line in a Fatal 4-Way match between 4 established Cruiserweights and High Flyers, as Chavo Guerrero, Evan Bourne, and Rey Mysterio were here to end the reign of the masked champion. The exciting showdown carried just as much volatility as the match before it, the theme of the evening. A battle of wills was brought forth in this one, as the slim outcome of victory would bring out the best in the challengers and champion alike. The fans in attendance couldn't help but appreciate the determination shown by these cruiserweights, though something eventually had to give, and in the end, Rey Mysterio would claim the title as his own and walk out as champion. John Morrison will be defending his United States Championship in another multi-man contest this evening, as Dolph Ziggler, Cody Rhodes, and R-Truth stand in his way of calling himself the United States Champion. All four of these competitors have intentions of establishing themselves as premier talent on Monday Night Raw, and equipping a prestigious title will certainly aid in that pursuit. Each of these challengers have won matches leading up to this event, though John Morrison's battle with John Cena and other Hall of Famers has seasoned him enough to be able to come out on top of this one, still the United States Champion. In the only one-on-one match we've got this evening, Randy Orton is looking to challenge Kane for the WWE Championship, mano a mano. There have been a number of factors that have prevented these two from squaring off and determining the rightful WWE Champion, though tonight one will be crowned as the best in the business. Kane has been on a relentless, dominating run since coming back to Raw last year, and has every intention of continuing this hostile takeover of Monday nights, while Randy Orton, fighting for his own glory and notoriety, now finds himself also fighting for the preservation of the competitive spirit found on Monday nights. These two are no strangers either, as their paths have been intertwined since WrestleMania, and Kane has made an effort to weaken Randy Orton as much as possible coming into this one. Randy put up an admirable fight, but the monster known as Kane once again turns in a ferocious performance, downing another challenger as he retains the WWE Championship. Our final match of the night is another Fatal 4-Way, this time with Sheamus defending his newly won World Heavyweight title against three contenders dead set on making names for themselves. CM Punk, a former champion, has been fighting his way back into title contention since he lost it all of those months ago. Wade Barrett, Intercontinental Champion, looking to take over the WWE alongside his Nexus running mates, and Mark Henry, a monster awoken experiencing a career resurgence. Sheamus has faced many different challenges throughout his time as WWE Champion back on Raw, and has a plethora of new challenges awaiting him here on SmackDown if he can survive this test. The match's momentum swung in every which way, with every star nearly cashing in on the championship opportunity. But after the smoke of battle had cleared, it was Sheamus, standing tall, still the World Heavyweight Champion to end the night. The following episode of Monday Night Raw kicks off with Kane addressing the WWE Universe, asserting his dominance as WWE Champion. He claims he has beaten every major star in WWE and that no one can challenge him. Suddenly, the lights dim, and the crowd erupts as Lesnar's music hits, and he makes a thunderous entrance to confront Kane. The two engage in a tense face-off, with Lesnar silently staring down the champion before leaving without a word, building anticipation. In the first match of the night, Daniel Bryan and William Regal put on a technical masterclass. These two stars possess incredible in-ring prowess and display their capabilities for the fans in attendance. This match was hard-hitting that featured plenty of mat-based offense and was sure to entertain. In the end, Daniel Bryan would force William Regal to submit. General Manager GPT is in the ring for the next segment, recounting the injury suffered by The Miz weeks ago. Since The Miz is in fact in possession of the Money in the Bank briefcase, the contract is going to be vacated and determined at the next pay-per-view, where it will now hold its own event going forward. The first match to determine one of the men who will be competing for the Money in the Bank briefcase will feature John Morrison going one-on-one with Goldust. The United States Champion has been on a roll and just defended his championship against three formidable competitors the night prior. Morrison's momentum continues here as he picks up a victory and cements his place in the iconic ladder match. John Cena is back in the main event on Raw as he is prepared to go one-on-one with another familiar adversary, Big Show. A clash of these familiar foes was on deck to headline the night, and both were eager to prove they belonged atop the men's division here on Raw. An intense battle came from these two, but it was cut short after Brock Lesnar invaded the main event, leaving both men down as a new threat had arrived on Raw. The first episode of SmackDown following the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view opens up with World Champion Sheamus in the ring, boasting about his victory and standing atop of the SmackDown mountain so quickly. CM Punk interrupts, sarcastically congratulating Sheamus and tells him that he might be champion for now, but he's already set his sights on the title. General Manager GPT books Sheamus in a non-title match tonight against Mark Henry and announces that qualifying matches for the Money in the Bank ladder match will begin tonight. The first match is a Money in the Bank qualifier pitting Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre to face off against one another. These two former Intercontinental Champions have been struggling to gain momentum as of late, but have a big opportunity in front of them. In an exciting back and forth match, Kofi Kingston qualifies for the Money in the Bank, countering McIntyre's Future Shock DDT and landing a Trouble in Paradise for the win. A salty McIntyre would lure Kofi into a vulnerable position, allowing the Chosen One to walk out here with a leg up on Kofi. We've got tag team action up next as the team of Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu are once again tagging alongside one another, facing the team of Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel. Tatsu and Bourne have got the crowd going with their exciting offense. However, Slater and Gabriel were able to hang around long enough to secure a win thanks to a 450 splash from Justin Gabriel. After another loss, the tensions between Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu can no longer be ignored. Alberto Del Rio approaches Rey Mysterio backstage, mocking his size and cruiserweight championship, claiming he doesn't belong in the main event conversation. Rey tells Del Rio to back up his words in the ring, and they agree to face off next week. The main event is a hard-hitting encounter between two powerful competitors, the world's strongest man Mark Henry going toe-to-toe with the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus. While this is a match we've seen before, Mark Henry truly has a massive opportunity in front of him should he pick up a victory over the champion. Defeating the Celtic Warrior is much easier said than done though, evidenced as Sheamus wins after a grueling brawl by landing a brogue kick. After the match, CM Punk blindsides Sheamus, hitting him with the GTS and holding up the World Heavyweight title to close the show. Monday Night Raw opens up with Brock Lesnar in a rare promo calling out Kane, saying he's back to reclaim WWE Gold. He vows to end Kane's title reign. Big Show interrupts, saying he's not going to let Lesnar waltz in and claim the top spot without proving himself. Lesnar smirks and leaves, accepting the unspoken challenge. The in-ring action is kicked off with another Money in the Bank qualifying match. Cody Rhodes and Dolph Ziggler face off in a battle of up-and-comers with tons of potential. Cody Rhodes, a former Intercontinental Champion, has got his hands full as Dolph Ziggler has been on quite a roll as of late. These two stole the show and put on a phenomenal match here on Monday night as the magnitude of the opportunity of the Money in the Bank ladder match is displayed. This match would take its toll on both competitors, and it truly came down to the wire, though Cody Rhodes would not be able to overcome the show-off, as a zigzag would end the match and secure Dolph's spot in the pay-per-view. Competitive tag team action is on deck up next as the team of the VIP attempt to get back on track against a tough combination of Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan. The Ryan-Bryan connection made for an extremely tough opposition as Ryder and DiBiase failed to get much offense going and ultimately took the loss here, resulting in apparent frustrations between the two. The main event has the returning Brock Lesnar in action for the first time, and he's got a massive opponent in the Big Show. In a brutal showdown, Lesnar showcases his raw power by matching Big Show's strength and staggering stature, finishing him with an F5 for the decisive win. After the match, Kane appears on the stage in intimidating fashion, but Lesnar stares him down, unflinching. Back on SmackDown, another Money in the Bank qualifying match is on our hands as Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett is going one-on-one with Tyson Kidd, and thanks to a Wasteland Slam, Wade Barrett punched his ticket into the Money in the Bank ladder match with intentions of taking over the WWE. CM Punk and Sheamus share an intense moment backstage, where Punk is mocking the champion, predicting his demise. Sheamus offers Punk to take his issues to the ring for a fight tonight, setting up the main event. Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio are set to face off in a match booked the week prior, as Rey is looking to wipe the smirk off Alberto Del Rio and shut him up for good. While Del Rio has been getting under the skin of SmackDown competitors, he has been backing up his talk with impressive performances. In a heated match, Rey looks set to win after a 619, though Del Rio is able to withstand the aerial onslaught and locks in the cross arm breaker, making Rey tap out. Del Rio celebrates, emphasizing that he is the most valuable competitor on SmackDown. The main event has got Sheamus and CM Punk putting the microphones down and their fists up. These two instantly start tearing the other down as soon as the bell rang, with CM Punk needing to make a statement to stay in the title picture, while Sheamus is facing the pressure of being champion and wants to show there isn't a challenge he'll back down from. After a fierce and intense battle, Sheamus wins via disqualification when Punk uses a chair. After the bell, Punk continues the assault on Sheamus, targeting the champion in an attempt to weaken him for a future title shot. The following Monday opens up with the final Money in the Bank qualifying match on the Raw end, as Daniel Bryan will go head-to-head with another fresh face in Michael McGillicuddy. These two young additions to the roster have bright futures ahead in this universe mode, and can kickstart early success with a win here and making a splash at the pay-per-view. Ted DiBiase Jr. would even make a puzzling appearance to shake things up. This would cause a slight rift in the match, however, Bryan's explosiveness and opportune offense gave him the edge, securing his win and spot in the coveted ladder match. Following his win, Ted DiBiase Jr. would return to the ring, beating down Daniel Bryan. Cody Rhodes and John Morrison get into a confrontation, with Rhodes accusing John Morrison of being unworthy of the briefcase. Cody Rhodes would mock Morrison's past failures, while the United States champion retaliated by challenging Rhodes to back up his words in the ring. This would lead to an impromptu match after a commercial break, as the two combatants headed in two different directions on Sunday square up with one another. These two would put on a tremendous match that would build anticipation for John Morrison's match at the pay-per-view. In the end, John Morrison would take a ton of punishment, but would prove resilient and take home the win. John Cena and Randy Orton are set to headline the evening, with the two stars aiming to re-establish themselves in the main event scene. A highly competitive match was in store, and the fans were eager to see the resolution of who would come out on top. Unfortunately, Kane would disrupt the match, taking out the two former world champions in the process, as he reminded Brock Lesnar as well as the WWE Universe the destruction he's capable of. To open up SmackDown, Jack Swagger has approached the general manager, looking for a title shot against Sheamus. While GM GPT acknowledges Swagger's ability, Swagger is booked into a match against Christian to prove he deserves the opportunity, and that they will fill the final spot in the Money in the Bank match. Rey Mysterio is set to defend his Cruiserweight Championship against Chavo Guerrero. Rey and Chavo have put on many great matches for this very championship, and this bout is sure to be no different. Rey Mysterio came out of the gate firing on all cylinders and bringing the heat to Chavo Guerrero. However, the veteran was able to regain his composure and slow down Rey's flurry of offense. Rey would again retake control, and when it seemed he was ready to wrap up the match, Alberto Del Rio would appear at the stage, demanding Rey's attention. This would prove costly as Chavo would capitalize, hitting a gory bomb to secure the win and finally the Cruiserweight Championship. Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu are back in the ring together, again facing the team of Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel. While Evan Bourne was successful alongside Kofi Kingston, he once again fell short alongside Tatsu. This would spark a post-match eruption, and the two partners would come to blows. The main event of the evening and the final match before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view will determine the final man who will compete in the coveted ladder match. Jack Swagger and Christian are two superstars who are familiar with not just the main event scene, but one another as well, and have had trouble maintaining the spotlight as of late. This was an intense contest that went down to the wire, with neither man giving in. However, the match came to an end when Christian wins after hitting a spear, solidifying his place in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Swagger is furious after the loss, hinting at potential unresolved issues between the two. We've made it to the inaugural Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and the show is set to open up with the Money in the Bank ladder match. But before the match could begin, Kofi Kingston is discovered beaten down and knocked out backstage, clearly unable to compete. This would leave a moment of uncertainty as the five other competitors, Wade Barrett, John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, Daniel Bryan, and Christian, made their way to the ring. In a shocking moment, Randy Orton would emerge as the sixth competitor, unclear if he was the attacker or just taking advantage of the opportunity. Regardless, the match began and the free-for-all for one of the most fruitful opportunities in all of WWE was underway. These matches are always so chaotic, with many different moving parts to create a concoction of destruction. All six of these competitors must endure severe pain and tribulations as they attempt to claim the world title opportunity. These stars are shoulder to shoulder, with little breathing room or moments to gather themselves. The risk is well worth the reward though, and each of these guys continued to take punishment with hopes they'd come out on top. After an absolute car crash of a match, it would be Wade Barrett with the savvy to grab the briefcase, sealing a golden opportunity for himself. The next match of the evening sees two former partners and tag team champion hopefuls, now turned bitter enemies, Evan Bourne and Yoshitatsu. Evan Bourne turned his back on Yoshitatsu after months of failed attempts to recapture some of their magic they held when their partnership began last year. The two will aim to resolve their issues as they can use any means they feel necessary to express their frustration in this Extreme Rules match. This highly personal contest would see an end when Evan Bourne hit a shooting star press to seal his victory. Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio are set to face off in the next match, as this is another highly personal bout in store. The grievances between these two were allowed to be aired out on a grand stage, and they certainly didn't disappoint. Alberto Del Rio had costed Rey Mysterio his Cruiserweight Championship just days ago, and a ton of bragging rights were at stake here. And in addition, whoever could come away on top would certainly have a case to insert their name into potential title contention. This match went back and forth, and Alberto Del Rio's confident demeanor was challenged as Rey continued to bring the fight to the self-proclaimed aristocrat. Del Rio would hit just enough high-impact offense to weaken the luchador and secure a victory. Former women's champion Layla is challenging current champion Beth Phoenix in a championship rematch, this time one-on-one with no other outside elements. The Women's Championship has changed hands and bounced around in various multi-women matches, leaving uncertainty whether there is a true champion. These two ladies are looking to answer that question, and the two would throw everything they had at the other as Layla truly presented a tough opposition for the Glamazon. However, Beth Phoenix's power would bring her to prosperity, as she successfully defended her Women's Championship. The SmackDown main event has CM Punk challenging Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship. The landscape of SmackDown continues to change with the emergence of Alberto Del Rio and Wade Barrett, as well as the uncertain future of The Undertaker. Though one thing remains a constant, CM Punk continues to carve out a premier spot in the main event to contend for the championship. Sheamus, who is no stranger to championship glory from his time spent on Raw, intends on wreaking just as much havoc on SmackDown as he has anywhere else he's been. Sheamus's power was often contained by CM Punk's technical prowess and calculated offense. However, the beast that is the Celtic Warrior could only be held back for so long. Sheamus began to build heavy momentum, and CM Punk knew the match was reaching a crucial point. CM Punk would hit his signature knee strike followed by a bulldog, signaling the end for Sheamus. However, the Celtic Warrior had CM Punk scouted and was prepared to catch him with a brogue kick from out of nowhere, which would keep CM Punk down for the 3 count, securing Sheamus' spot atop of SmackDown. We've made it to the main event of the evening. Kane is defending his WWE Championship against the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Kane has led a path of destruction since his arrival to Monday nights dating back to the year prior, and while Brock Lesnar has just recently returned after a near decade-long hiatus, he is looking like a dominant force as he has taken out multiple superstars on his way back to the WWE title picture. A battle of beasts will end the night, and one of these guys will be crowned the definite champion of WWE when it's all said and done here. Neither man hesitated to implement as much punishing offense as possible. However, the resilience shown by both competitors proved it wasn't going to be easy to keep either down. Kane isn't used to being thrown around the ring, but even the Big Red Machine couldn't help but take a trip to Suplex City. Kane wasn't going to roll over though, and proved his dominance had been justified, as he intends to extend his reign. Lesnar couldn't believe it when Kane kicked out of the F5, and the momentum shift was palpable within the arena. Kane had regained momentum and was looking to end things with a chokeslam. However, Brock Lesnar broke out, setting up a second F5 and the subsequent victory for the new WWE Champion. This was a thrilling contest, and the fans didn't know what to expect moving forward as the champion changed hands from one beast to another. As the show ends and a new WWE Champion is crowned, Eve Torres made a surprising appearance, taking part in some shenanigans I'm sure Sable would not appreciate. Back on Raw following the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, the tag team champions Edge and Christian will start the night in a title defense against the team of Michael McGillicuddy and Daniel Bryan. These two youngsters have looked good in the brief moments on Raw thus far, but a victory over two future Hall of Famers like Edge and Christian would immediately grant them some notoriety. Edge and Christian have been dominant in the tag team scene so far though, and the domination continues after another victory. As the champs reign supreme once more, many begin to wonder, is there anybody in the WWE who is able to defeat them? Backstage, Triple H confronts John Cena and Randy Orton, discussing the chaos Lesnar has caused. They agree that something must be done to stop Brock Lesnar, but disagree on how, leading to tensions among the three. Kane is seen tearing apart the locker room, seething with rage. He declares that Lesnar has awakened something in him and vows to destroy everything in his path until he gets his rematch. Zack Ryder and Mason Ryan will aim to end their grievances with the other as they'll go head-to-head in a steel cage match. The fallout between Mason Ryan and the VIP happened as quickly as the formation of their alliance, and now these two share feelings of resentment for the other, as Zack Ryder believes Mason Ryan embarrassed him and Mason Ryan believes Ryder and DiBiase Jr. never took him seriously. This personal clash featured ground-shaking offense from Mason Ryan and displayed Zack Ryder's toughness and lack of quit. While Mason Ryan dominated most of this match, Zack Ryder was in fact able to get his ass out of that cage and miraculously secure a victory. The main event brings John Cena and Randy Orton squaring off. The massive egos of these two have brought this match into play, despite their attempt to align together in an effort to take down Brock Lesnar. These two have shared many battles in the past, and they're going to add another here. In a tense match fueled by their earlier disagreement, John Cena wins clean with an FU. After the match, Cena grabs a microphone and says Lesnar's reign won't last long because he is next in line. Back on SmackDown, CM Punk is in the ring, clamoring for another shot at Sheamus' World Heavyweight Championship. Christian would put an end to this tangent, claiming CM Punk has had his shot and needs to move to the back of the line. The two would exchange verbal shots, and a match would be made for this evening. Yoshitatsu and Justin Gabriel are set to go one-on-one in the next match. Tatsu is a fantastic in-ring performer, and Justin Gabriel is a veteran to the business, Sheamus, making for a competitive match. Both competitors put forth a valiant effort, but Justin Gabriel would come out on top following a 450 splash. After the match, the two would share an exchange of sportsmanship in the ring, which got a strange look from Justin Gabriel's Nexus partner Heath Slater. Former women's champion Layla is back in action and looking to re-establish herself as a rightful contender. Eve Torres stands in her way though, and this match became highly competitive. Layla anticipated an easy victory, however Eve Torres was on her game and handed the former champion a loss. The main event of the night, Christian and CM Punk going one-on-one. CM Punk adamantly believes he is the rightful challenger to Sheamus' championship, and Christian feels that he has been overlooked since coming back to SmackDown. Sheamus has been on fire since coming to Friday nights, so whoever comes out on top here will need to come correct at SummerSlam if they hope to dethrone the Celtic Warrior. These two veterans put on a great match, and Christian would be the one to walk out on top, setting his sights on SummerSlam and the World Heavyweight Championship. The next episode of Raw begins with the United States Champion John Morrison cutting a promo in the ring, discussing his championship reign and declaring himself the best looking champion in all of WWE. Cody Rhodes and Dolph Ziggler would both interrupt this promo, each eager to challenge for the title. Cody Rhodes and Dolph Ziggler are set to compete in the next match to challenge for the US Championship come SummerSlam. However, ChatGPT also included the talented Daniel Bryan. The addition of the third competitor made this already personal match into an extremely volatile situation. Each man was kept on their toes and had to be wary that anything could happen in this kind of environment, and in an intense triple threat match, Daniel Bryan looked poised to win after shocking Ziggler and Rhodes. However, the two were able to regain composure, and each man played their role in contributing exciting maneuvers. The action never settled in this triple threat until Dolph Ziggler ended the match by surprisingly forcing Daniel Bryan to tap out. In the next match, John Cena is set to face Edge. Cena wins clean after an FU. With another victory to his credit, John Cena is looking like a real threat to the WWE Champion. The main event of the evening has got Brock Lesnar issuing an open challenge, even putting the WWE title on the line. The challenge would be answered by The Big Show, who is looking to be the one to put the Beast down. This was a huge match, both figuratively and literally. The power of the WWE Champion was clear for everyone to see when he hoisted The Big Show on his shoulders and delivered an F5 to the Giant, granting him his victory. After the match, Kane makes an appearance, coming straight for the champion. Kane would deliver a chokeslam to Brock Lesnar, leaving the champion down as Kane looks over his victim as the show comes to a close. CM Punk opens the next edition of SmackDown. In disbelief, he came up short in his match last week. CM Punk would go on to challenge Christian once more, but this time for his tag team championships. Christian would answer this challenge, but remind CM Punk that his tag team partner resides on Raw, and that they will need notice before taking any title matches, thus scheduling the tag team title match for next week. Sin Cara is back in singles competition taking on Tyson Kidd. Kidd has been on quite the losing streak without his poster boy for miracles, David Hart Smith, on the roster, and unfortunately his bad luck continues here as Sin Cara picks up a victory. Wade Barrett starts the next segment with a cocky promo, declaring himself untouchable after winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. He promises to cash in on Sheamus when the time is right. The crowd erupts as The Miz makes his shocking return. The Miz addresses Wade Barrett, stating the briefcase belongs to him as he never lost it. He challenges Barrett to a match tonight. Randy Orton's music hits, and the Viper appears from Raw, stunning everyone. Orton states that SmackDown has become his hunting ground, and he's coming for the briefcase too. Alberto Del Rio would defeat Yoshitatsu in the next match after a punishing battle. He would then remind the fans that he is here to achieve greatness. The main event of the evening is the result of the segment from earlier, as Wade Barrett has not only got to fend off the returning Miz, but also a determined Randy Orton. There's no briefcase on the line in this match, but defeating Wade Barrett would make a great justification to take his Money in the Bank briefcase. This was a highly entertaining match that involved three cunning superstars, only adding to the unpredictability triple threats hold already. Randy Orton would hit a big RKO on The Miz, but Wade Barrett would be the one to capitalize, throwing Randy Orton out of the ring and collecting the pinfall, escaping the ring area as Orton looked on in disbelief. The next episode of Raw opens up with Dolph Ziggler cutting a promo ahead of his United States Championship match at SummerSlam. Ziggler claims he is superior to champion John Morrison, and it's only a matter of time before the crowd will recognize Dolph as the champion. Big Show and Edge are set to compete in the first match. Both of these guys are aiming to move back into the title scene that has been shaken up with Brock Lesnar's arrival. There's a ton of uncertainty regarding who will be at the front of the line following SummerSlam, and a victory here would certainly aid in providing some clarity. After a competitive match, Big Show picks up the victory over Edge. Brock Lesnar cuts a promo backstage, warning Kane about the consequences that are to come following Kane's attack last week. We've got tag team action next, as the VIP is back in the ring, this time competing against the team of William Regal and R-Truth. Ryder and DiBiase looked good, and may just earn another title shot against Edge and Christian, a team who has got the VIP's number. It was a tightly contested match, but the addition of a new enforcer, Ezekiel Jackson, may just be the difference maker Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase need. The main event of the evening has SummerSlam opponents John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler in action against one another in a tag team match. Morrison, teaming alongside Daniel Bryan, and Dolph will be fighting alongside Cody Rhodes. This was an exciting match that featured not just the champion and the contender for the US title, but two guys to keep an eye on in the mid-card scene on Raw, as well as in Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan. In the end, Dolph Ziggler's team would be able to secure the victory, building some serious momentum as we inch closer to SummerSlam. Back on SmackDown, in-ring action starts the show as the newest member of the SmackDown roster, Randy Orton, is going up against Nexus member Heath Slater, looking to send a message to Money in the Bank holder Wade Barrett. The Viper dismantles Heath Slater, despite Slater's best efforts to compete with the former world champion. Rey Mysterio approaches Chavo Guerrero, claiming they have unfinished business, pointing to the Cruiserweight Championship. Chavo refuses a match with Rey, stating he has nothing to prove against him, urging him to take out some of the other cruiserweights in the division. Mark Henry is looking to add his name into the hat that is the world title picture as he challenges Sheamus here. Sheamus, refusing to back down, promptly accepted the challenge. The champion has been seemingly unstoppable here and kicked off the match quickly and with direct intent. However, Mark Henry began to take control and gain momentum until Jack Swagger would interfere, resulting in a no contest. Swagger would make his mark in this battle of potential contenders, citing his recent victories over Christian should place him in the title conversation. The main event of the evening has got the tag team championships on the line as Edge and Christian are set to defend against CM Punk and his new protege, Husky Harris. Edge and Christian have been nearly untouchable in the tag team division, and haven't had many challengers step up to them. CM Punk is leading a young and unproven Husky Harris that flashes some serious potential. While the champions certainly weren't going to make it easy, CM Punk and Husky Harris would pull off a huge victory and become new tag team champions. The final episode of Raw before SummerSlam begins with Kane in the ring. Kane claims he is not afraid of Brock Lesnar and welcomes a fight at any time. John Cena would interrupt Kane, challenging him for a spot in the SummerSlam title match, setting up the main event for the evening. The show opens up with R-Truth taking on Michael McGillicuddy. These two would put on a competitive contest, and R-Truth would come away with a much-needed victory here. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. are in the ring with their new enforcer, Ezekiel Jackson. The newfound confidence in the VIP has propelled the duo into challenging for the tag team titles once more. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan would interrupt the VIP at the stage and inform the cocky team that if they want a shot at the tag team titles, they'll have to go through the Bryan and Ryan connection first. The next match of the evening features Cody Rhodes going over on Goldust. After the match, Rhodes claims that he will be a champion again soon. The main event of the night brings the former WWE champion Kane into the ring with John Cena. John Cena could drastically change the SummerSlam match card with a convincing victory here, but Kane is determined to get his hands on Brock Lesnar, and he's not going to allow that opportunity to fade away. These two would deliver a back and forth match, as John Cena continued to fight back from Kane's menacing offense. Fans were denied a definitive winner here as Brock Lesnar made his way down to the ring, where a brawl would ensue between the champion and the challenger. However, Kane would stand tall and deliver a tombstone piledriver, foreshadowing Lesnar's WWE Championship reign come Sunday. Cruiserweight action will open up the go-home show to SummerSlam, and Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara are set to go mask to mask in a battle of aerial assaults to determine the #1 contender to Chavo's title, granting them a match on Sunday. The fast-paced action certainly didn't disappoint, and in the end the winner was Rey Mysterio, punching his ticket to SummerSlam. The Miz has got a match against Justin Gabriel next. Tensions are increasing as we get closer to Wade Barrett putting his Money in the Bank briefcase on the line in a triple threat at SummerSlam, and he's going to have to watch fellow Nexus running mate Justin Gabriel face off against one of the men gunning for his briefcase. Justin Gabriel is a fine competitor, but The Miz seems to have something to prove with his return. Thus, The Miz would be able to secure a victory here. The main event of the night will finalize just who will be the one to challenge Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship come Sunday. Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, Christian, and CM Punk are all facing off in a battle royal, and only one will remain standing and head to SummerSlam. Sheamus will be keeping a close eye on this match as he will have minimal time to prepare for his opponent. Despite great determination shown from everyone involved, the numbers would begin to fall as these main eventers were thrown out of the ring. After Mark Henry and Jack Swagger were eliminated, it came down to CM Punk and Christian, vying for the #1 contendership. Christian sent the new tag team champion packing and secured his title shot at SummerSlam with a big victory to close the show. If you're enjoying the video, consider leaving a like or subscribing to the channel. It's a massive help to continue this series. Also, for the fans of Nearfall Gaming, a Patreon account has been launched to provide extra content. Check it out. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks. It's time for SummerSlam, and the night is set to begin as Dolph Ziggler challenges John Morrison for the United States Championship, and these two kick off the show with a bang. Both of these competitors were determined to steal the show and walk out of here as United States Champion. John Morrison has built a great deal of momentum, but Dolph Ziggler has also been on a roll that is nothing to scoff at. The challenger truly tested the champion, and both of these guys were pushed to their limits. As the match went back and forth, the crowd couldn't decipher who was going to come out on top. Dolph Ziggler hit some high-impact moves and a zigzag, but John Morrison kept fighting. Starship Pain was landed, and John Morrison successfully defended his United States Championship. In the next match, Chavo Guerrero defends his Cruiserweight Championship against Rey Mysterio. These longtime rivals once again compete to determine the class of cruiserweights. With the long and extensive history these two have with one another, there weren't many things they haven't seen from their opponent, so this one came down to execution and resilience. Chavo has been dead set on being known as the prominent cruiserweight in the WWE, while Rey has been in hot pursuit of championship relevancy and re-establishing himself as a serious threat on SmackDown. Rey delivered many exciting moments, and Chavo's sly and cunning style carried him through the match. While their determination was on full display, someone was going to go down, and the winner of the match would be Rey Mysterio, after hitting a 619 as well as a 5-star frog splash, once again crowning him the Cruiserweight Champion. This next clash may have some major implications on the WWE, as Wade Barrett, Money in the Bank winner, has got a steep challenge as he is set to defend his briefcase and contract in a triple threat match against two dangerous former world champions. This match is shrouded in volatile elements, as anything could happen in the blink of an eye with these cunning stars in the ring. The Miz, determined to regain the coveted contract he had to relinquish due to injury, and Randy Orton, the Viper, finding a way to create an opportunity for himself and looking to capitalize, while Wade Barrett, the young upstart with tons of potential, is kicking his career off on a fast track, though is quickly realizing what life is like with a target on your back. Something had to give, and as this match came to a close, Randy Orton would deal an RKO that would secure him a victory and snatch the Money in the Bank contract from Wade Barrett's grasp. In the SmackDown main event, we have Christian and Sheamus going to battle for the World Heavyweight Championship. The landscape of SmackDown has been uber competitive in the main event scene, with a multitude of worthy competitors all vying for the right to call themselves the best. Sheamus has the current distinction of champion, but that is at stake as Christian, who has been laser focused as of late, has the opportunity to knock off the Celtic Warrior. Both of these guys gave every ounce of effort in their bodies to put the other down, with both men coming back from seriously punishing offenses. Sheamus is incredibly powerful, but Christian's exceptional in-ring IQ and execution stagnated Sheamus's aggressive approach. Christian delivered a truly admirable performance, however it would be Sheamus who would keep his opponent down for the 3 count, retaining his World Heavyweight Championship. The main event of the evening is going to be a monumental showdown as Kane and Brock Lesnar rip each other apart in Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship. This is the second installment between these two monsters, and Kane is looking to serve up some consequences Brock Lesnar will never forget. Kane has gone mad as his reign of power and destruction is seemingly coming to a close, although he has a shot to regain his title if he can take down Brock Lesnar here. However, Lesnar has zero intentions of wavering, and he brings the fight to the former champion. Kane couldn't believe it when Lesnar kicked out of a chokeslam, but the punishment wasn't done there. These two maintained a fairly tame Hell in a Cell match as no weapons were used, but Brock Lesnar did send a massive statement with a victory over Kane and a successful defense of his WWE Championship. What's next for our champions? Find out in the next episode as we continue the series. Brock Lesnar opens the show, basking in his dominance after defeating Kane at SummerSlam. John Cena interrupts, stating he is coming for the title, and demands a title match. Triple H appears, stating that if anyone deserves the next shot at the WWE Championship, it's him, while Big Show follows, reminding everyone of his sheer dominance and challenging Lesnar for the title. It would then be announced that a triple threat will determine Brock's next challenger. In the first match of the night, the Ryan to Bryan connection are back in the ring together, and they pick up a victory over William Regal and R-Truth. The next segment features Kane cutting an eerie promo in the ring, addressing his recent losses and claiming to be more dangerous than ever. As he speaks, the lights flicker, and Edge interrupts. Edge mocks Kane, saying he's been acting out of character and seems weaker since losing the WWE Championship, setting up a match for next week. More tag team action up next as the team of the VIP take on guys who just competed for the US title at SummerSlam, Dolph Ziggler and US champion John Morrison. Ziggler and Morrison work well together but argue over who should pick up the pin. The miscommunication allows DiBiase to roll up Ziggler for the win. The main event features the 3 stars who open the show as John Cena, Triple H, and Big Show compete for the right to be Brock Lesnar's next challenger. These former world champions know what's at stake here, and are ready to put their opponents down for a shot at the championship. The match was chaotic and truly wore out each of the competitors, with each man getting close to victory. Brock Lesnar would then interfere, taking out all 3 competitors with devastating F5s, declaring no one is worthy of facing him. The show ends with the champion standing tall over Cena, Triple H, and Big Show. SmackDown opens up with Sheamus boasting about his victory at SummerSlam. He is interrupted by General Manager GPT, who warned Sheamus not to get too comfortable, as a new contender will be determined tonight. In the first match of the evening, Rey Mysterio and Evan Bourne secure a tag team victory over Chavo Guerrero and Santino Marella. Rey and Evan Bourne display an exciting arsenal, and following their win, Evan Bourne makes a respectful but direct motion at Rey's Cruiserweight Championship. Wade Barrett, now without the Money in the Bank briefcase, faces Kofi Kingston in the next match. Barrett's frustration is apparent as he secures another victory over the familiar adversary. The main event of the night will determine the next man to challenge for Sheamus' World Heavyweight Championship. Christian, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, and Drew McIntyre will aim to eliminate the others in order to give themselves that golden opportunity at Night of Champions. This fatal 4-way had many different moving parts that made for a hectic environment that anybody could wind up winning, though after hitting a kill switch, Christian was able to give himself a second championship opportunity against Sheamus and the opportunity to redeem his SummerSlam loss. The next episode of Raw opens up with General Manager GPT confronting Brock Lesnar in the ring, accusing Lesnar of sabotaging the #1 contenders match. He announces that at Night of Champions, Lesnar will defend the WWE Championship against both John Cena and Triple H in a triple threat match. Big Show interrupts, furious at being excluded. GPT then assures Big Show he is not a part of Night of Champions because he has got a title match tonight. The first match of the night puts Daniel Bryan back in the ring against William Regal. This is a match we've seen recently, but these two don't hesitate to deliver another good showing. Regal wins a hard-fought technical battle. Edge and Kane are set to meet next in singles action here. Edge accused the Big Red Machine of not acting like himself since losing his title to Brock Lesnar, which has struck a chord within the masked monster. Kane wins after a tombstone, but the lights suddenly go out. Then, laughter echoes through the arena, and a fiery explosion erupts on the stage. The main event of the evening is a WWE title match just less than a week before Night of Champions, as Big Show is getting one last opportunity to prove he is the most dominant figure on Raw. The champion, Brock Lesnar, has every intention of leaving the arena as champion and walking into Night of Champions with the title defense on his hands. This made for a clash of two powerful superstars, and Brock Lesnar would once again pick up a victory, but his Night of Champions opponents, Triple H and John Cena, attack the champion, and Big Show would even join in, making it clear that Brock Lesnar has a huge target on his back. The following episode of SmackDown begins with champion Sheamus confronting his challenger for Night of Champions. Sheamus snickers and asks Christian if he really wants to go through with another loss in front of the entire world, and Christian then aims to up the ante when suggesting the match be a TLC match. Sheamus was thrown off, but accepted the challenge. Rey Mysterio and Evan Bourne are once again in tag team action together, this time against Justin Gabriel and David Otunga. In a competitive match, the Nexus was able to secure a victory after Evan Bourne would turn on Rey and officially challenge him for the Cruiserweight title at Night of Champions. After the match, Wade Barrett would scold his Nexus stablemates for wasting energy on irrelevant matches, which would leave Otunga and Slater clearly frustrated. Wade Barrett would then go on to conduct business on his own in the next match, as he defended his Intercontinental Championship against Santino Marella. Wade Barrett would dismantle the questionable contender, and after the match, The Miz would interrupt Barrett's celebration, making a case for an Intercontinental title match on Sunday. The main event of the night would feature Randy Orton squaring off against Alberto Del Rio. This was an intense match between two stars vying for notoriety and recognition here on SmackDown. Alberto Del Rio has yet to face someone as cunning and ruthless as the Viper, but his natural talent and athleticism made for a highly competitive contest. These two stars went blow for blow, with nothing seeming to keep their opponent down. The bout took a spill to the outside of the ring, where these two continued their melee. As time became a factor with the ring count creeping, Alberto Del Rio put Orton down just long enough to get back into the ring and win the match by countout. The victory had gone to Del Rio, though Randy Orton would remind his adversary that he still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. We are here at Night of Champions and will kick off the night as Rey Mysterio defends his Cruiserweight Championship against Evan Bourne. Two extremely talented high flyers are set to go head-to-head to determine the #1 Cruiserweight in all of the WWE. Tensions were high as Evan Bourne hasn't been the greatest guy in the locker room as of late, and Rey is eager to get some revenge on Evan Bourne for his acts just 2 days ago. The legendary luchador that is Rey Mysterio held control for most of the bout, though Evan Bourne was persistent and constantly found ways to keep himself in the match. It was clear these two were prepared, and in what was maybe a moment of insecurity, Evan Bourne managed to win with a small package to become the new Cruiserweight Champion. In the next match, CM Punk and Husky Harris defend the tag team titles against Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. in a battle of SmackDown vs. Raw. The VIP has been on a roll since enlisting Ezekiel Jackson as their new enforcer, although Husky Harris has been improving his game while under the tutelage of CM Punk. CM Punk also aided in taking down the Cocky Stars from Raw as the champions retain their titles. Beth Phoenix defends her women's championship against Eve Torres. Beth Phoenix has been the most dominant female in the history of ChatGPT's universe mode, and she looks to be gearing up for another dominant title run. However, Eve Torres has undergone a bit of an attitude shift since hooking up with Brock Lesnar, and is unveiling a new level of skill and aggression not seen from her before. In turn, she would pull off a huge upset, and another title change of the night would take place here. Wade Barrett defends the Intercontinental Championship against The Miz. Before the match, Wade Barrett is found berating the Nexus members, demanding they ensure he retains his championship. This match was an intense encounter between two competitors that are determined to be recognized as the best in the business, but also share frustration of losing the Money in the Bank briefcase. This would make for a very physical match, as the Intercontinental Championship still provides some of the notoriety these two are after. Wade Barrett was looking for assistance from his Nexus cohorts, though they would actually leave Barrett high and dry. The Miz would then take advantage of the moment and shock Wade Barrett, taking the Intercontinental Championship from him. Dolph Ziggler is receiving one last shot at John Morrison for the United States Championship, but this time it will be in a no disqualification match to truly determine the bigger superstar between the two. They've become awfully familiar with one another over the last few months, and are going to need to pull out all of the stops to topple the other. John Morrison has been red hot since becoming United States Champion, although Dolph Ziggler has been extremely resilient to remain a contender and constantly causing Morrison to have to look over his shoulder. In a personal match, Dolph Ziggler was able to outlast John Morrison, finally becoming United States Champion. Sheamus has his back against the wall as he defends the World Heavyweight Championship against Christian, Mark Henry, and Jack Swagger. The fearless champion didn't hesitate to step up to the challenge, even if it would end up proving to be the wrong decision. The formidable competitors that await him in the ring have been eager to call themselves the face of the brand on SmackDown. However, coming out on top in this hectic environment is difficult no matter who you are. The match went back and forth and possessed a volatility that meant the match could come to an end at any moment. Each of these competitors were physically drained by the end of this contest, though it would be Sheamus who would go to the distance in this battle and retain the right to call himself World Heavyweight Champion. For the main event, mind games are everywhere in a showdown of eras as Brock Lesnar walks into the most uncertain situation he's seen since returning to the WWE, as he defends his reskinned WWE Championship against a pair of serious championship collectors in John Cena and Triple H. This huge showdown quickly became a high-intensity clash of living legends. The ring could hardly contain the immense star power involved here, and each man's durability was put to the test, with high-impact maneuvers and ground-shaking slams being at no premium in this one. John Cena has been focused on once again climbing to the top of the mountain and getting back on his pursuit of the world title, while Triple H believes he always has a justifiable claim to be in the main event picture and continues to insert himself in the title scene. And Brock Lesnar, the champion, intent on doing things his way, and is eager to see who thinks they can stop him. As the match came to an end, each move became that much more crucial. F5s were handed out like candy, and Brock Lesnar was able to come out of Night of Champions successful, still the WWE Champion. If you're enjoying the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. We've also got a Patreon account where members will be able to find prompts used for these ChatGPT videos available to bring to your own universe mode. Your support is greatly appreciated. We are back on Raw, and with very little turnover before the next pay-per-view, Mason Ryan and R-Truth are facing off with one another to open up the show. Mason Ryan continues to build momentum by collecting another victory here, though a post-match beatdown by Regal and R-Truth would solidify the bad blood between this group. Kane is in a match with Goldust next, and the Angry Monster would make Goldust pay for coming out to the ring, and end the match with a Tombstone Piledriver. After the match, Pyro erupts on the stage. The unmasked Kane appears, shocking the crowd and masked Kane alike, signaling his return next week. We have got a huge tag team main event next this evening, as WWE Champion Brock Lesnar is teaming alongside Big Show to take on John Cena and Triple H. This is a particularly puzzling situation considering Big Show was a part of the attack on Lesnar a week ago. This would play a large factor in Brock Lesnar walking out on Big Show, leaving the Giant to take an FU as well as a pedigree, resulting in John Cena and Triple H sharing an intense stare-down with clear tensions brewing. The Miz opens up SmackDown, celebrating his newly won Intercontinental Championship. The Miz would remind the crowd of his unfinished business and warns the locker room that he is not done collecting championship gold. Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov are set to challenge the tag team champions next in a non-title match. CM Punk and Husky Harris display their dominance and secure a convincing victory here. After the match, Big Show and Edge appear from Monday Night Raw and make a claim for a shot at the tag team titles. New Intercontinental Champion The Miz is teaming alongside Yoshitatsu to compete against Nexus members David Otunga and Heath Slater. Justin Gabriel was present ringside, and Wade Barrett also made the trip down, though he elected to sit at the announce table. Barrett's presence would constantly distract Otunga and Slater, throwing them off their game, and The Miz would hit a skull-crushing finale to secure the victory. After the match, Wade Barrett would scold the Nexus members, blaming them for the recent losses and proclaiming that he is the star of the group. The main event of the night brings a triple threat between Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger, and Mark Henry. These competitors were presented with another shot to prove they deserved to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, as Swagger and Henry have become rather familiar with one another in the main event scene. Alberto Del Rio was focused on backing up his cocky attitude, and becoming champion may be the only thing that can satisfy the ego of Del Rio. This was an intense contest that resulted in Alberto Del Rio walking away victorious and securing a championship match. The next episode of Raw opens up with Kane speaking to a camera, discussing his time away since losing the WWE Championship and the imposter that took his spot while he was gone. Kane promises to take care of the imposter, as the two will go to battle in a Hell in a Cell match at the namesake pay-per-view. After multiple attacks, Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan have finally got the chance to get their hands on R-Truth and William Regal in the ring, in a battle between two tag teams that are looking to build some momentum. The Ryan and Bryan connection get their revenge, with Mason Ryan delivering some devastating offense to lead them to victory. Regal would warn Bryan and Ryan that they haven't seen the last of him. Women's champion Eve Torres and Natalya are next to go one-on-one with one another. Eve Torres is riding a wave of confidence after defeating Beth Phoenix, but Eve Torres' momentum would continue and she would collect another victory here. The Big Red Machine is back in the WWE, and he claims the Masked Kane has been an imposter since he lost the WWE Championship months ago. Kane would send a message by delivering a dominating performance against Cody Rhodes, although the Masked Imposter would make his way to the ring, resulting in a brawl between the two. The Masked Kane would get an upper hand, delivering a tombstone piledriver as the night came to a close. The go-home show to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is kickstarted with Alberto Del Rio standing in the ring and making arrangements for his championship celebration that will take place a week from today. World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus interrupts Del Rio and reminds him that he is unlike anything Del Rio has faced before. Kofi Kingston and Yoshitatsu would kick off the in-ring competition against Chavo Guerrero and Drew McIntyre. A hard-hitting and fast-paced match took place with these talented competitors in the ring, and Chavo Guerrero would eventually pick up the victory, signaling that he wants to be in the Cruiserweight title picture. A fired-up Heath Slater would go on to challenge Wade Barrett to a match as the issues with the Nexus continue. David Otunga and Justin Gabriel tried to calm Slater down, but Barrett accepts, telling the Nexus members to stay in the locker room, and the match is set to begin following a short television break. Wade Barrett and Heath Slater would then go at one another. Slater's emotions were apparent through his aggression, but also the mistakes he would make that allowed Wade Barrett to secure the pin cleanly. Wade Barrett would mock Slater on his way back up the entrance ramp, and would be met by Justin Gabriel and David Otunga backstage, who accused Barrett of being a bully instead of a leader. Mark Henry and Alberto Del Rio headline the night, and the world's strongest man doesn't want to accept that he is not part of the pay-per-view come Sunday, and would challenge Del Rio for a spot in the title match. The match commenced and both of these guys did whatever they could to get a leg up on their opposition. While Mark Henry overpowered Del Rio would in fact be able to secure his cross arm breaker and make the big man submit, building some serious momentum for his title bat against another powerhouse in Sheamus. The next pay-per-view on deck is Hell in a Cell, and the night opens with Edge and Big Show challenging CM Punk and Husky Harris for the tag team titles. The team of Edge and Big Show was formed rather suddenly. However, the star power of the former world champions immediately made them a formidable challenge in the tag team division. Husky Harris and CM Punk have been riding a wave of momentum that makes them tough to overcome. The champions were put to the test early, as the challengers came out hot. The champions' persistence was apparent, as they fought back and this match became a competitive championship showdown. In the end, Husky Harris and CM Punk would stand tall and retain their titles. In the next match, Wade Barrett receives his rematch for the Intercontinental title against The Miz. Wade Barrett made his way to the ring without any backup, which is a strange sight to see for the former Intercontinental Champion and Money in the Bank holder. The Miz, another former Money in the Bank holder, is aiming to regain his place on top of SmackDown and sees the Intercontinental Championship as a necessary stepping stone to do so. These two have developed some bad blood over the last couple of months, and their paths continue to cross as they chase a similar goal. Wade Barrett will also have to overcome the mental obstacles caused by his issues with the Nexus faction, and things seem to be crumbling around the man who once seemed on top of the world. A fantastic match came from these two, and it was evident how much being Intercontinental Champion meant to both of these guys. The match went back and forth, and neither man was going to go down easily, as Wade Barrett came back after a skull-crushing finale, and The Miz fought back after receiving a Wasteland Slam. As the match came to an end, The Miz was able to regain momentum, once again planting Wade Barrett with the skull-crushing finale, and successfully defending his championship here. In a huge SmackDown main event, Alberto Del Rio challenges Sheamus for the World Heavyweight Championship. Sheamus has been an unstoppable force since being drafted to SmackDown months ago, and has been conducting a dominant reign as World Champion. Alberto Del Rio has proved himself as a formidable competitor, despite only being on the roster for a short time, as he has continued to topple established main eventers and former champions. This isn't the first time Del Rio has challenged for the title, but this is one of the few times he has got a one-on-one opportunity, and the amount of momentum he is bringing in here may just be the difference maker to knock off the Celtic Warrior. That is much easier said than done though, and Sheamus' overwhelming offense was on display as always. Aggression and physicality were at the forefront in this monumental clash. No matter what Sheamus did, Alberto Del Rio kept coming back and found a way to turn things around on the champ. Alberto Del Rio applied the cross armbreaker, and things were looking bad for the champion. However, Sheamus found a way to break the hold, twice. After an absolute battle, it would be Sheamus to come out on top, walking away with the right to call himself World Heavyweight Champion. In the next match, John Cena challenges Brock Lesnar for the WWE title in his first opportunity to take the championship mano a mano. It's no secret that Brock Lesnar has been dominating Raw and changing the landscape of the WWE since his return earlier in the year. John Cena has been away from the WWE Championship for quite some time and has shown an unwavering determination to regain the title that he believes defines his career. Cena also didn't appreciate when Brock Lesnar reintroduced the WWE Championship's design before John Cena's revolutionary spinner belt came into play. Another hard-hitting match was in store as these two superstars were determined on dismantling their opponent. Brock Lesnar is unrelenting with his offense, and John Cena's resilience is unmatched, making for a true battle of wills. In true Brock Lesnar fashion, he sent Cena through a flurry of suplexes and slams of high impact. However, Cena continued to regain composure, and the brawler maintained a consistent barrage of offense, keeping the beast worn down and depriving him of any moment to catch his breath. Nobody expected John Cena to come out on top of this one, although after a crucial FU, Cena did keep the beast down long enough to collect the 1-2-3 and begin a huge championship celebration as he regained the WWE title. Cena's victory would then be celebrated by an odd yet uplifting group of wrestlers that came out to rejoice in their new champion. The main event of the evening is up next, as two Kanes are going to put one another through hell. Trapped in an unforgiving structure, these two monsters are out to prove superiority as questions and uncertainty are swirled around how this encounter even came about. The original, unmasked Kane took hiatus after losing his WWE Championship, although the WWE Universe never noticed, as an imposter filled his place and conducted business as the former champion. There are a ton of loose ends and questions that need answered, and while full resolution may not be reached here, these two do have the chance to tear one another apart. If one of the Kanes is destroyed here, only one will remain, imposter or not. These two went toe-to-toe with one another, and it truly was like looking into a mirror as their methods and moveset are the same as well as their appearance. A truly hellacious match would take place inside this cage, as the intent of destruction was clear. As these two traded chokeslams, the volatility of the match was peaking, and anything could happen, and anyone could come out on top. The original Kane was taking a beating from his imposter, and if he couldn't pull it out here, this may be the last we would see of it. However, Kane wasn't going to let anything get in the way of the revenge he was seeking, and he would put his imposter down for good with a tombstone piledriver, bringing this match to an end. Make sure you like the video if you want to see the next episode. If we can get this video up to 500 likes, the next episode will come out as quick as possible. Monday Night Raw is back and immediately opens up with in-ring action between Mason Ryan and US Champion Dolph Ziggler. The night is kicked off with exciting action as these two put on a show for the fans in attendance. Dolph Ziggler is looking to enhance his momentum, though the power of Mason Ryan would make for a surprising upset as the champion took the loss here. John Cena opens the show as the new WWE Champion. He acknowledges his victory over Brock Lesnar and promises to represent Raw as a fighting champion. Cena is interrupted by Brock, who storms to the ring and demands a rematch. Before Cena can respond, General Manager GPT appears and announces that Cena will defend his WWE Championship at Bragging Rights in a triple threat match against Brock Lesnar and a yet-to-be-determined challenger, to be decided in a fatal four-way main event tonight. Backstage, Alex Riley introduces himself as the varsity villain, mocking the Raw roster for lacking real athletes. R-Truth would confront Riley, setting up the next match. The two made their way to the ring, and an exciting contest was underway. R-Truth presented a tough challenger for the newcomer. However, Alex Riley would take care of business here and pick up a crucial victory in his debut. The main event of the evening will determine the third participant in the triple threat match for the WWE title at Bragging Rights. Edge, Triple H, John Morrison, and Big Show collide in a huge fatal four-way. John Cena has already got his hands full as he has got to topple Brock Lesnar once more to remain champion, but the addition of one of these very formidable competitors will amplify the challenge Cena will face. There was never a moment to rest in this match, with each of these guys focused on earning a title shot. Whoever it will be has history with Cena in one form or another, which adds a layer of tension for the champion. After a hard-fought battle, Edge was able to utilize his cunning to come out on top of this one after taking advantage of a Triple H pedigree. Friday Night SmackDown opens up with Wade Barrett berating Nexus members Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, and David Otunga for their recent failures. David Otunga interrupts, suggesting that Barrett's leadership is the problem. Tensions rise as Barrett asserts his dominance, warning Otunga to fall in line. The first match of the night features hard-hitting action as we see Mark Henry overpower Drew McIntyre. Henry wins with the world's strongest slam. In the next match, Chavo Guerrero picks up a decisive win over Santino Marella with a frog splash. After the match, Chavo cuts a promo about being overlooked and vows to make a statement at Bragging Rights. The main event of the night features world champion Sheamus teaming alongside recent adversary Alberto Del Rio as the two are set to face the team of Money in the Bank holder Randy Orton and Christian. A star-studded tag team match commenced and the landscape of SmackDown could see a shift depending on how this match goes. Sheamus and Del Rio held plenty of tension, though they were able to work together for the most part. A chaotic match ends with Orton hitting an RKO on Del Rio for the win. After the contest, Randy Orton teases cashing in his briefcase on a vulnerable Sheamus, but decides against it, leaving Sheamus furious. To open up the next episode of Monday Night Raw, the Bragging Rights tag team match was announced and the WWE Championship match was made final as Edge, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena all shared a tense confrontation in the ring ahead of their monumental showdown. The in-ring action begins with Bragging Rights qualifying match between Cody Rhodes and Daniel Bryan. The winner of this match will compete in the Interbrand Bragging Rights tag team match, as well as receiving a great deal of exposure and recognition that goes along with that. An intense battle came from these two young stars vying to make a name for themselves, but ultimately Cody Rhodes would come out on top here with a big victory. However, Tyson Kidd would make a huge return and unleash a flurry of offense on Cody Rhodes out of nowhere after the match, making a huge statement. Alex Riley cuts a promo mocking R-Truth's aggression, claiming Truth is jealous of his natural talent. R-Truth interrupts, claiming they will settle the score very soon. Ted DiBiase Jr. and Goldust are next to compete for the final open Bragging Rights match spot. Ted DiBiase handedly defeated Goldust and carved out a spot for himself in the pay-per-view. After the match, tension was visible between Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase, as Ryder would hesitantly celebrate with his partner. The main event brings the WWE Champion into more tag team action, something we've seen plenty of so far in this year's Universe mode, as Edge and Big Show team to take on John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Edge, Lesnar, and Cena will all meet in a huge championship battle in less than a week, meaning tensions are incredibly high here and the chance to wear down a future opponent is on the forefront. Big Show made his mark as a potential threat as well, and after a back and forth match, Edge would get away with one here and pull off a surprise pin on a champion that was clearly worn down. The night comes to an end with Lesnar extremely frustrated, as well as Edge building some serious momentum. The final show before Bragging Rights is kicked off with Evan Bourne and Sin Cara competing in Cruiserweight competition. The champion is preparing to hold an open challenge at the next pay-per-view, and this non-title bout with Sin Cara will adequately prepare him for any challenger who may step up on Sunday. The fans were treated to fast-paced, high-flying action from these two, but the champion Evan Bourne would come out on top here. Nexus members Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater argue with Wade Barrett about their roles on SmackDown. Barrett demands Gabriel prove his worth in the next match. Justin Gabriel would then make his way out to the ring to compete against Kofi Kingston, and a tightly contested matchup was on our hands here. The Nexus member and the former Intercontinental Champion made up a bout that featured exciting moves as well as constant interference from Heath Slater, and with that aid, Justin Gabriel was able to do enough damage to keep Kofi down to secure a victory. Post-match, Gabriel and Slater celebrate, but backstage Wade Barrett dismisses their win as unimportant. David Otunga steps in again, challenging Wade Barrett to a match on Sunday to settle their differences. To build anticipation for the bragging rights event, a massive 6-man tag team match is held to main event the night. On one side, the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus, leading Alberto Del Rio and Mark Henry to take on the opposing team of Christian, Chavo Guerrero, and Randy Orton. This was a fun match that featured a bunch of talent, and it's unclear just what Sheamus will be faced with on Sunday, as he is surrounded by potential challengers and contenders, and I can confirm none of these guys are representing SmackDown in the bragging rights elimination match. This match took its toll on everyone involved, but in the end, Sheamus was able to secure a victory after pinning Chavo Guerrero. We are here at the next pay-per-view, bragging rights. The night is set to be kickstarted with excitement as Evan Bourne holds an open challenge for the Cruiserweight Championship, which would be answered by two former champions, Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero. These three professionals made for a great match that featured stiff blows and aerial assaults. The champion definitely has his back to the wall as these guys attempt to prove themselves as the most dominant cruiserweight on SmackDown. The action would never rest in this encounter, and these three gave everything they had, and it really came down to who could find the moment to secure an uninterrupted pin. In the end, Chavo Guerrero would be the one to outlast the others, once again becoming cruiserweight champion. The next match is a grudge match, as David Otunga and Wade Barrett take part in a Nexus civil war. Wade Barrett has been receiving criticism from his Nexus stablemates for his leadership style and open feelings of superiority over his peers. Each member of the Nexus has effectively called out Wade Barrett directly, making for this clash between Otunga and the Nexus leader. This wrestling match quickly devolved into a highly personal battle of bitter feelings. David Otunga came out hot, and his offense was overwhelming Wade Barrett early. The former Intercontinental Champion and Money in the Bank winner fought back with reckless intent, though Otunga wasn't going down easily, which only amplified Wade Barrett's frustrations. Otunga was able to build enough momentum to truly give the impression he was going to come out on top here, though Wade Barrett's second Wasteland Slam of the match would keep Otunga down for the count. CM Punk and Husky Harris defend their tag team titles against the Bryan and Ryan Connection in the first battle of SmackDown vs. Raw here on bragging rights. CM Punk and Husky Harris have been carrying a great deal of momentum as of late, as they have been knocking down every opponent they've come across. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan have had their hands full with other teams over on Raw in the past few weeks, and CM Punk and Husky Harris got off to a great start early and delivered some serious damage right off the bat. This would not deter Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan though, as they would stick around in this match, continuing to deliver offense and build momentum of their own. The match began to wind down, and the tensions were rising. Each team had an answer for the other, but in the end, Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan would win the match, crowning new tag team champions. Sheamus defends his World Heavyweight Championship against Randy Orton. Randy Orton is coming into this world title match while also holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, which would make for an interesting scenario should he come away victorious here. Once the bell rang, the mind games and intimidation that led to this moment must now be placed to the wayside, and it's time to fight. Sheamus brought a furious flurry of offense to this contest, and Randy Orton had to use his cunning just to keep his head above water, as the Celtic Warrior constantly kept the pressure on with high-impact maneuvers. The world champion would send a huge statement to the rest of the WWE with a dominant victory and a successful title defense here. Our next match is a big one, as John Cena defends his WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar and Edge in a big triple threat full of unpredictability and volatile variables. These are three of the most decorated stars of this century, and every one of these guys are fired up for the opportunity to become WWE Champion. John Cena, eager to start his reign as WWE Champ, a role he feels he belongs in, and Brock Lesnar, furious over losing the title and desperate to regain the championship he came back to WWE to claim. And then there's Edge, a man who hasn't tasted singles gold in quite a while, tantalized by the prospect of becoming champion once again. John Cena and Brock Lesnar have become rather familiar with one another as of late, but the injection of edge into this match completely shakes things up and opens the door for anything to happen. There was no quit in anybody in this match, though there could only be one winner, and that would be Brock Lesnar regaining the WWE Championship and stunning the former champion John Cena. The bragging rights main event is shaping up to be a collision of stars to determine brand supremacy. With each team captained by the secondary champion of each brand, all 6 of these competitors involved could get themselves noticed with a dominant performance here. Team Raw, led by US Champion Dolph Ziggler and manned by Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes, present a team full of young talent, whereas Team SmackDown, led by Intercontinental Champion The Miz, featuring Jack Swagger and Drew McIntyre, carry impressive resumes featuring championship tenure. Team Raw came out firing, and SmackDown would quickly find themselves at a numbers disadvantage. After his last teammate was eliminated, Drew McIntyre had his back against the wall. While he was able to make one elimination, things still were not looking great for the blue brand. Drew McIntyre would then even up the odds, and the crowd couldn't believe what they were seeing. One final elimination was made, and Drew McIntyre truly put the team on his back, and overcame the odds, winning the match for Team SmackDown as the night came to an end. If you're enjoying the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If we can get this video up to 500 likes, we'll get the next episode out as quickly as possible. The next episode of Monday Night Raw started with the new tag team champions taking on the team of Cody Rhodes and United States Champion Dolph Ziggler. This was a great match that would set the tone for the night. The Bryan and Ryan connection just came off a big victory knocking off CM Punk and Husky Harris. The momentum would carry them to another impressive performance as they pick up the victory here. Post-match, Ted DiBiase Jr. and Zack Ryder ambush the champions, reigniting their tag title ambitions. In the next match, Goldust is set to challenge newcomer Alex Riley. A-Rai picked up a victory in his debut and is looking to make it 2-0. Goldust is a veteran of the game and provided a challenge, but Alex Riley would secure another victory here thanks to a TKO. Following the match, Riley would declare that he is the future of the WWE. Kane is in the ring and declares that now that he has taken care of his imposter, he aims to continue the destruction he had caused before, serving a warning to the rest of the roster. The main event of the night would bring John Cena and William Regal head-to-head. John Cena is aiming to get back on track after a brief WWE Championship reign. Cena is determined to get back on top and prove he deserves to be champion, though he must get through an extremely physical match with a formidable competitor. While Regal is no slouch, Cena looks to be in peak form and takes down his opposition with an FU. After the match, the surprising duo of John Morrison and Michael McGillicuddy would appear and take out the former champ. Over on SmackDown, Sheamus opens the show, bragging about retaining the World Heavyweight Championship at bragging rights. He mocks the SmackDown roster for being unable to take his title. Christian and Alberto Del Rio would make their way to the ring to plead their cases for title matches, while Randy Orton would remind everyone that he holds the Money in the Bank briefcase. Rey Mysterio would then compete with Tyson Kidd in Cruiserweight action. Competition. These two would deliver an exciting match, and despite Tyson Kidd being an absolute menace on Raw the last time we saw him, he is back on SmackDown and looking to establish himself as a Cruiserweight Championship contender. Thanks to interference from Jack Swagger, this match was called as a no contest, leaving Tyson Kidd stagnant in the Cruiserweight division and Rey with a serious problem on his hands. Mark Henry and Kofi Kingston are in tag team action next as they are competing against Drew McIntyre and Cruiserweight Champion Chavo Guerrero. Both teams feature a balancing contrast of speed and power, and Drew McIntyre is coming off a huge performance at bragging rights. Thanks to a great performance from Mark Henry, he would be able to secure a victory for his team after pinning Chavo. After the match, Drew McIntyre blames Chavo for the loss and attacks him. Main event time here on SmackDown. Christian and Alberto Del Rio square off to determine Sheamus' challenger at Survivor Series. Both of these guys have had their shot at Sheamus, though they have come up short each time, though that is not going to deter these two from making another attempt to secure a championship opportunity. Alberto Del Rio has steadily been getting under the skin of prominent members on the SmackDown roster, and Christian has consistently been putting on bangers throughout his time back on SmackDown. There was no ounce of quit in either of these two, and this made for an exciting match for these SmackDown fans. Something had to give, and Christian seemed to have the match won after delivering a sickening kill switch outside of the ring, though Del Rio kept coming back. Christian would force Del Rio to submit and secure one more chance to bring Sheamus down. After the match, Randy Orton would make his appearance at the stage, though he would actually get blindsided by Sheamus, who took Orton out with a bro kick out of nowhere. Back on Raw, John Cena opens up the show to address his attack from last week. Cena would be interrupted by his attackers, who claim he has been hogging the spotlight for too long. This would set up a tag team match later in the night. Alex Riley is once again in the ring with R-Truth. Another competitive bout was produced here, and Alex Riley was looking confident as he was certain another victory was coming his way. However, R-Truth would shock the cocky youngster and secure a victory of his own. This would set Alex Riley off, who would attack R-Truth after the match. Backstage, Daniel Bryan is confronted by Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr., who make a challenge for the Tag Team Championships at Survivor Series. The next match has John Morrison and Michael McGillicuddy teaming up to take down John Cena and a mystery partner, who would be none other than the Enforcer himself, Arn Anderson. This crowd went bananas at the sight of the legend, and this match was electric. Morrison and McGillicuddy demonstrated their prominence, and Ol Arn showed that he still got it. However, this match ultimately would not go in favor of the legend, as Anderson would take the pin and Morrison and McGillicuddy would prevail. After the match, John Morrison taunted Cena, saying he's lost his edge. The main event of the evening features a huge match, as Kane and Triple H are going to go head-to-head to determine Brock Lesnar's challenge at Survivor Series. These two behemoths are very familiar with one another, and they show no hesitation to administer another beating for their opposition. This is a battle between two top dogs in the WWE, and physicality is at the forefront. Triple H's unwavering offense kept coming at the Big Red Machine, and Kane's resilience and sheer durability was on display, as no matter what Triple H did, Kane continued to strike back. In a highly entertaining match, Kane would come out on top here, earning himself the rematch he never actually had. SmackDown once again opens up with Sheamus cutting a promo, this time mocking his challenger Christian as well as Randy Orton, stating neither are real threats. Randy Orton would confront Sheamus, declaring that he may not even need to take the title from Sheamus, as Orton will cash in his Money in the Bank contract at Survivor Series in a scheduled match after Sheamus defends his title against Christian. Rey Mysterio and Tyson Kidd are in tag team action against Evan Bourne and Jack Swagger. Mysterio's after revenge following Jack Swagger's attack last week. Tyson Kidd is here to aid Rey, as the no contest their match went to did neither of them any favors, something Kidd did not appreciate. Evan Bourne is aware of the opportunity that taking down two fellow cruiserweights presents, thus this tag team match has been brought upon us. The team of Mysterio and Kidd displayed an exciting arsenal of offensive maneuvers, keeping the crowd on the edge of their seats. Evan Bourne and Jack Swagger were persistent and refused to make things easy for their opponents. Jack Swagger pins Tyson Kidd after a gut-wrench powerbomb, signaling that Rey will have no choice but to take the beating that is coming to him. Backstage, the Nexus is seen arguing again. Justin Gabriel suggests they focus on proving their dominance instead of bringing down the group. Wade Barrett announces that he and Justin Gabriel will team up in the main event against Mark Henry and The Miz. In the next match, Drew McIntyre convincingly takes care of Yoshitatsu in dominant fashion. Drew McIntyre declares that he's done being overlooked and vows to make an impact. The main event will bring the Nexus back together as Justin Gabriel and Wade Barrett are set to go 2-on-2 with Mark Henry and The Miz. The Nexus has been at odds recently, but the talent within the group cannot be denied. Wade Barrett and Justin Gabriel solidified this notion as they delivered a great performance against two of SmackDown's toughest competitors to defeat. The Miz and Mark Henry certainly did their thing and brought their own offense into this bout. However, Justin Gabriel's 450 splash would be enough to keep Mark Henry down for the pin. The Nexus were victorious, and Wade Barrett would grab the microphone, taking credit for their victory, which would clearly frustrate Justin Gabriel. To open up Monday Night Raw, Brock Lesnar and Kane signed the contract for their Survivor Series match. Kane promises to unleash hell, while Brock Lesnar mocks Kane's failure to remain relevant. To kick off the in-ring action, Eve Torres would secure a victory over Maurice after an impressive performance, solidifying her place as the top of the women's division. In the next match, R-Truth received a United States Championship opportunity against Dolph Ziggler. R-Truth has been scratching and clawing his way from obscurity in this universe mode, and can achieve a significant milestone with a victory here. Dolph Ziggler is a very tough competitor, which made for a match that could go either way. R-Truth was performing well in this match, until Alex Riley would come out to the ring and distract Truth, which would set up the champion to lock in a sleeper hold and retain his title. A furious R-Truth would then challenge Alex Riley to a match at Survivor Series. John Cena is back in tag team action tonight against John Morrison and Michael McGillicuddy, but this time, he's found his edge, literally. The Rated R superstar has been called upon to help bring down the duo of Morrison and McGillicuddy. The cocky team continued to display great chemistry, and even the presence of another Hall of Famer didn't seem to hinder them at all. Edge and Cena would only be kept at bay for so long though, and would eventually find a way to turn things around. An FU was delivered, and Cena and Edge are successful. After the match, John Cena states that a tag team victory is not enough, and challenges Morrison and McGillicuddy to a handicap match at Survivor Series. Back on SmackDown, Randy Orton cuts a promo, promising to dethrone Sheamus at Survivor Series. Sheamus interrupts, but before a fight can break out, Alberto Del Rio attacks Orton from behind, seemingly aligning with Sheamus. The first match of the night brings Nexus member David Otunga going one-on-one with Kofi Kingston. David Otunga seems to have an interest in establishing a singles career, and it's yet to be figured out just what's going on with the Nexus group. Regardless of all the out-of-ring drama, Otunga has a former Intercontinental Champion standing across from him, with intentions of taking him down. This match was tightly contested, but in the end, Kofi Kingston would come out on top after hitting Trouble in Paradise. Post-match, Otunga blames Nexus for not supporting him, deepening the group's internal issues. In a backstage segment, Christian would catch up to champion Sheamus, informing him that their TLC match they agreed on for SummerSlam is finally going to take place on Sunday. Drew McIntyre is in the ring next with Chavo Guerrero, who is looking for some revenge from their fallout last week. The Cruiserweight champion had every intention of bringing down McIntyre. However, the Scotsman is focused on moving up the pecking order, not down it. McIntyre would dominate this match, picking up a convincing victory at the expense of the Cruiserweight champion. Our final match of the night is shaping up to be a huge showdown. Alberto Del Rio seems to have sided with heavyweight champion Sheamus, making for an incredibly powerful duo. Christian and Randy Orton both have their eyes on the championship belt and even intend on taking it come Survivor Series. While they may not be on the best terms, Randy Orton and Christian share a common enemy or enemies. This was a hard-hitting match, with 4 superstars ready to rip the roof off the arena. Both teams would spend time in control during this one, but after an RKO, Randy Orton was able to pin Del Rio and collect the victory. Survivor Series has arrived and there's a big night in store. The action is kicked off as Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr. challenge the Bryan and Ryan Connection for the tag team titles. There's been a great deal of tension between these teams brewing throughout the year, and while they may be familiar with one another, the stakes have never been higher as the tag team championships are on the line. Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase came in with a strategic and ruthless approach to isolate Daniel Bryan from his powerful ally. The VIP were able to execute this plan to near perfection, cutting the ring in half, and the championship almost seemed guaranteed to be coming to Ryder and DiBiase Jr. However, Daniel Bryan would create just enough space for himself to get his partner in the ring, and Mason Ryan would then take over this match, dismantling the team of the VIP, and in a flash, the champions were back on top and would end this match displaying resilience and power. In the next match, Drew McIntyre challenges The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. McIntyre has been on a tear as of late, and after an impressive performance at Bragging Rights, established a justified case of contention for The Miz's Intercontinental title. The Miz, who is intent on getting back to the main event scene, will need to take care of business here if he wants to stay on course to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Miz has become a truly impressive competitor over the past couple years, and he held control of this match. McIntyre had to collect himself if he didn't want to come up short in another title match, and after kicking out of a skull-crushing finale, momentum seemed to migrate over to the challenger. Drew came back with a vengeance, putting The Miz down with a vicious Future Shock DDT, crowning a new Intercontinental Champion, and certainly setting The Miz back in his plan for the world title. The next contest for Raw features John Cena taking on John Morrison and Michael McGillicuddy in a handicap match. Morrison and McGillicuddy have been determined to take out the former WWE champion, who they believe has overstayed his place in the spotlight. The big match Johns have a rich history, which seems to be getting unearthed in this one, as Morrison is back on the salt train. John Cena has tasted victory as well as suffered defeat against these two, but he feels he needs to defeat them in this handicap environment to truly get them off his back so he can return his attention to once again capturing the WWE Championship. John Morrison is an underrated competitor and Michael McGillicuddy is no slouch himself. But are they equipped with hustle, loyalty, and respect? I don't think so. However, they do have the numbers advantage, and that may be all they need, as they took Cena to his limits. Edge even made a surprise appearance and made sure no unnecessary shenanigans took place. The match was winding down, and Cena just couldn't quit. McGillicuddy and Morrison's frustrations became apparent, and in the end, despite an admirable performance, the numbers were too great and John Morrison would put Cena down and end the match by hitting Starship Pain. In addition, not only did they collect the victory, but they seemed to have dealt Cena a significant injury. The Raw main event is up next as Brock Lesnar defends his WWE Championship against Kane. This is a match that on paper has occurred before, though we haven't seen it quite like this. Kane is determined to unleash a new brand of rage upon the Raw roster after dismantling his imposter, and Brock Lesnar, despite reclaiming the WWE Championship at bragging rights, has got a point to prove that losing the WWE title was a fluke in the first place. Brock Lesnar looked dominant, and Kane looked merciless in this one-on-one matchup. The ring shook with each punishing maneuver, and Eve Torres even had the gall to help her man Brock Lesnar out. Each time one of these monsters held momentum, it seemed to signal the end nearing. However, both men proved resilient. In the end, it would take 2 F5s from the champion to keep the Big Red Machine down, as Brock Lesnar sends a huge statement to the rest of the Raw roster. For the SmackDown main event, we have got 2 back-to-back World Heavyweight Championship matches, where the true survivor will leave with the gold. Christian versus Sheamus in a TLC match for the World Heavyweight Championship will get us started, and we know that Randy Orton will look to vulture the championship away from whoever comes out of this match on top. While whoever comes out victorious in this instance, they will certainly have the odds stacked against them once the match is over. Although it was clear neither of these guys were worried about the next match, as they had an absolute battle on their hands to even get that far. Christian and Sheamus proved why they are 2 of the most prominent figures on SmackDown, as they tore one another apart to prove their dominance. The match would wear both competitors down, and the carnage in the ring is a clear indicator of their unwavering persistence. Christian wasn't going to give up, and had the World Heavyweight title in his sights. However, Sheamus would prove his might, and keep Captain Charisma down long enough to retain his title, though he knew he had no time to breathe, as Randy Orton made his way to the ring, as his intentions have been known for quite some time, and used his Money in the Bank briefcase to challenge Sheamus for another World Heavyweight Championship match. Randy Orton stated that he didn't care who came out on top of the TLC match, and that it was going to be easy pickings to come in and become champion. Sheamus did not make it easy, and would put up a fight. However, the night ends with Randy Orton soaking in another world title reign to his name, and the WWE Universe has no idea what he has in store for them. If you're interested in getting your hands on the ChatGPT prompts used in these videos, check out the channel's Patreon, where you can find exclusive benefits available for all tiers of membership. Your support is greatly appreciated. Back on Raw, Brock Lesnar is in the ring, displaying his WWE Championship and claiming that nobody deserves to step up to him, mocking the rest of the roster. Edge would make an appearance, claiming he deserves a one-on-one opportunity for the WWE title. It was then announced that Edge will fight for the #1 contendership tonight. The first match of the night features Dolph Ziggler taking on the imposing Ezekiel Jackson. Ziggler came into this one looking to make a statement, and he did just that, as he was all over the big man in this contest. Despite the size difference, Ziggler never gave Big Zeke a chance to gain much momentum, and Dolph came out on top of this one victorious. After the match, the boastful champion would declare himself as the greatest United States champion ever, which would prompt Goldust to come out and challenge Ziggler. The champ would laugh this challenge off and state that Goldust had to win a match next week for a shot at the pay-per-view. Alex Riley is back in action, once again squaring up with R-Truth. This seems to be the blow-off match of their mini rivalry here on Raw, as there are no more matches between these two booked after tonight. R-Truth brought some serious intensity in this matchup and quickly took control of the contest. However, Alex Riley showed his mettle, continuing to fight and refusing to give up. Riley would gain some momentum and hit the TKO, which would end the match in his favor. The main event of the night is a big TLC match between Edge and Kane to determine Brock Lesnar's next challenger. The match was truly designed to get the crowd hyped for the upcoming TLC pay-per-view, and 2 huge stars hungry for championship glory are ready to give it everything they've got for the opportunity to go one-on-one with the Beast incarnate. Kane is no stranger to destruction, and we all know Edge's legendary association with TLC matches. Kane seemed to have locked up another match with Brock Lesnar after hitting a tombstone piledriver. However, Edge didn't let that keep him down, as he would make a comeback, bringing Kane down off of the ladder the hard way, and then dealing enough damage to keep the Big Red Machine down long enough to win the match and secure a title match at the pay-per-view in just a few weeks. To open the next installment of Friday Night SmackDown, Randy Orton is celebrating his World Heavyweight Championship victory. He declares that his reign will be one of dominance. Sheamus interrupts, demanding a rematch. Before Orton can respond, The Undertaker's gong sound, and the lights go out. When the lights return, The Undertaker has made his return and appeared in the ring, staring down Orton and striking fear into the heart of the champion. The in-ring action begins with Intercontinental Champion Drew McIntyre going up against Kofi Kingston. Kofi displayed some of his impressive athleticism, but the champion is on another level right now and promptly ends the match with a Future Shock DDT. After the match, McIntyre would mock Kofi, calling him a failure. The Nexus argue over their recent failures backstage. Wade Barrett asserts his leadership, but Gabriel, Otunga, and Slater seem disillusioned. Big Fatal 4-Way Cruiserweight Championship match on tap next year as Chavo Guerrero has a tall task in order to remain champion, as Tyson Kidd, Rey Mysterio, and Evan Bourne are all ready to take that title away from him, and he doesn't even need to be pinned to lose it. This match featured constant action provided by these talented competitors. The Cruiserweight Championship has struggled to find a home for more than just a brief period since its return earlier in the year, and these men have shared the ring as partners, adversaries, and everything in between. But the only thing that matters now is becoming champion. Tyson Kidd is the only one in this match who has not held the title before, and he is looking to change that. Though that feat will have to wait another day, as it was actually Evan Bourne who came out of this one as the new Cruiserweight Champion. We have a huge main event up next as The Undertaker makes his long-awaited return and has instantly found his way back to the world title scene. Sheamus, Randy Orton, and The Undertaker will battle it out in what could be another TLC preview. This match was full of intensity and the crowd was buzzing as the Phenom has brought his presence back to the WWE Universe. Randy Orton found himself in an undesirable position as he was stuck in between two powerful stars intent on doing damage. Sheamus is furious and full of fire after losing the championship last Sunday, though he will have the chance to regain that championship come the TLC pay-per-view when he utilizes his rematch. This match volleyed momentum throughout, and Sheamus hit Orton with a high cross, and then Sheamus' ally, Alberto Del Rio, came out to lend a hand. Del Rio took out The Undertaker while Sheamus collected the pin given the no DQ nature of the match. Sheamus collected his victory, and the two quickly got out of the ring as the show came to an end before any retaliation could occur. Edge kicks off the next Monday Night Raw in the ring and vowing to take the WWE title from Brock Lesnar. However, John Morrison would interrupt Edge, claiming he deserves a shot at the title, given the injury he dealt to a perennial contender, setting up tonight's main event. Goldust is set to compete for the chance to challenge Dolph Ziggler at the pay-per-view for the United States title, and his opponent is his own blood, Cody Rhodes. To stack the deck further, Big Show even made his presence known. These two brothers are eager to establish themselves as rightful championship contenders, and a victory here is crucial in making that case. I couldn't even tell you if Goldust has won a match in either year of this universe mode, but ChatGPT sees him as a legitimate contender, as he overcame the odds and collected a victory here to earn himself a title match at the pay-per-view. After the match, Dolph Ziggler would make his way to the ring, striking Goldust from behind to send a message. The VIP has once again been given a tag team title match as they look to dismantle the Bryan and Ryan connection. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan have been looking good as of late, taking down multiple notable tag teams, including their opponents here. Ryder and DiBiase have had numerous chances to once again become tag team champions, although those efforts have come up short time and time again. In fact, they come up short once more as Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan defend their tag team titles successfully here. The main event of the night has John Morrison making his attempt to insert himself into the WWE title match at the TLC pay-per-view, as he feels he deserves to be considered given the fact he was the one who took out John Cena. These two made for an entertaining match, and John Morrison displayed his ability and justification for being in the main event scene, but Edge's killer instinct came into play, and the rated R superstar then took over and would finish off his arrogant adversary, keeping his title match mano a mano. After the match, Morrison's partner Michael McGillicuddy and new addition to the faction Alex Riley launched an attack on Edge, keeping the challenger down as the night came to an end. On the next episode of SmackDown, we are going straight into the in-ring action as the Intercontinental Champion Drew McIntyre is in tag team action alongside Mark Henry, teaming against Christian and Kofi Kingston. A back-and-forth contest ensued, but ultimately Kofi Kingston would hit Trouble in Paradise on the champion and secure the win with the cherry on top of pinning the champ, which McIntyre was beside himself himself over. Backstage, we once again find Wade Barrett berating the Nexus members. However, this time they walk out on the former Intercontinental Champion, citing they're done putting up with Wade Barrett. In the next match, David Otunga takes on Vladimir Kozlov. Otunga makes his case as someone who deserves more spotlight on SmackDown after turning in an impressive performance and picking up a victory over Kozlov. In the main event of the evening, Alberto Del Rio must answer for his actions last week, as he is set to go
one-on-one with The Undertaker!
This is the first singles match for the Deadman since ending his extensive hiatus, though The Undertaker seemed to have knocked any rust off in last week's huge triple threat. It was announced that if The Undertaker can secure a victory here, he will secure a spot in the World Heavyweight Championship match at TLC. These two delivered an exceptional performance, and Alberto Del Rio once again showed that he is a legitimate competitor here on SmackDown. However, The Undertaker takes care of business and inserts himself into the TLC main event. After the match, Randy Orton would hit The Undertaker with an RKO out of nowhere, sending a message to his newly announced challenger. The final Monday Night Raw before the pay-per-view opens up with a face-to-face confrontation between Edge and the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. Tensions were high, and the two would begin to brawl before production cut to commercial. The in-ring action is set to begin with one of two tag team matches. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan are set to compete in a non-title match against Michael McGillicuddy and new ally Alex Riley. The champions were looking good and seeming to continue their winning streak. However, a distraction from the VIP would prove costly, as Alex Riley would take advantage and hit Daniel Bryan with an Impaler DDT as the new team of McGillicuddy and Riley score a surprising upset victory. After the match, Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan show signs of possible dissension as they argue over the match's outcome. Goldust and Cody Rhodes are set to team up to take down United States Champion Dolph Ziggler and Big Show. The match features two competitors that will compete for the US title on Sunday. However, every man in this match has their eye on the championship. Dolph Ziggler looked good here, but he is going to have to show up on Sunday as his match against Goldust will be a ladder match, and Goldust seems to have his number after he pins the champ here for a second time. Following the loss, Ziggler would blame Big Show in an attempt to shrug off the setback. The ladies are given the spotlight in this main event, as the women's division looked to make a splash after being relatively quiet as of late. Women's champion Eve Torres has her hands full with the title defense against a handful of contenders, as Beth Phoenix, Layla, and Maurice are all looking to become the new champion here in this elimination-style fatal four-way. Surprisingly, Beth Phoenix was the first to be eliminated. Eve Torres was then taken out of the match, and it was down to Layla and Maurice, who were both spent. Maurice took advantage to become the new women's champion, and in an odd sequence, Eve somehow found herself laying it back on the mat, and Maurice sent an exclamation point by stomping on the former champion. To open the go-home show to the TLC pay-per-view, Randy Orton and The Undertaker have a heated face-to-face confrontation, with The Undertaker promising to take Orton's soul at TLC. Sheamus would interrupt, warning the two not to forget about him on Sunday. Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre would face off to find some resolution as the two have traded pinfalls and victories over the other. Kofi Kingston once again brought a ton of energy into this match and frustrated the Intercontinental Champion right out of the gate. Drew McIntyre was able to slow down Kofi Kingston's offense and took control of the match. However, Kingston's persistence shined through in this one, pushing McIntyre beyond the point of control, and his frustration led him to grab a steel chair. McIntyre would strike Kingston with the chair, resulting in a loss via DQ. Wade Barrett declares the end of Nexus, blaming everyone else for its failure. Wade Barrett states that at the TLC pay-per-view, his insubordinates will answer for their inferiority. Evan Bourne is set to defend his Cruiserweight Championship against former champ Chavo Guerrero. The Cruiserweight Championship has been something of a hot potato as of late, and it is once again up for grabs here. Evan Bourne has established himself as one of the most talented cruiserweights on the roster, while Chavo Guerrero is extremely sly and has continuously kept his name mentioned in title contention. Chavo is using his rematch after losing the strap 2 weeks ago and is intent on becoming champion once more. However, his plans would be thwarted and Evan Bourne would hang on to retain his championship. In the main event, Randy Orton and The Undertaker are forced to create a volatile team as they are tasked to take down the duo of Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, as we are mere days from a monumental title match between 3 of these 4 competitors. This match holds major implications and the opportunity to seriously weaken one's adversaries. Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio have formed an alliance that has potential to take over SmackDown, and The Undertaker and the World Champion had a tough time even coexisting on the same team, let alone defeating a very capable duo. However, Randy Orton would counter a brogue kick from Sheamus and hit an RKO, resulting in a victory before the pay-per-view. But before the night came to an end, The Undertaker would send Randy Orton through the announce table with a vicious chokeslam, taking extreme extreme measures to assert his dominance and send a chilling message to his TLC opponents. We've made it to an action-packed and unpredictable TLC pay-per-view, and the night is set to begin as Kofi Kingston takes on Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship in a tables match. Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre have gone back and forth in competition over the recent weeks, and while Drew scored a convincing victory the first time around, Kofi has racked up multiple victories over the champion in response. As the champion's frustrations grew, he eventually snapped and attacked Kingston. This has brought us here, as these two are now pitted in a tables match, and the only way to walk out tonight as champion is by slamming their opponent through a table. The proverbial dagger in this rivalry. This match was full of close calls and high-impact moves, but in the end, it would be Drew McIntyre to send Kofi Kingston through a table, securing the Intercontinental Championship. The next match features Goldust challenging Dolph Ziggler for the United States title in a ladder match. This is another case of the challenger getting the leg up on the champion. However, this time's Dolph's case is a bit more surprising. Goldust has a chance to make a huge splash on Raw if he can become champ. However, Dolph Ziggler's once dismissive approach to Goldust has shifted, and he is fully focused ahead of this one. Goldust delivered an admirable performance, but Dolph Ziggler would successfully defend his championship here after he was able to retrieve the hanging United States title belt. The turmoil of the Nexus has culminated into full implosion, with the leader, Wade Barrett, announcing the group has been disbanded. There has been a civil war brewing within the group, with differing ideas of leadership driving a wedge within the faction that was once looking very promising. Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, and David Otunga are all engaged in a free-for-all with the chance to establish themselves as the standout of this soon-to-be defunct group. While Wade Barrett has considered himself the shining star, as well as being the only one with any championship pedigree so far, this match is wide open and could truly go in any direction. Each of the former stablemates showed promise as a viable competitor on the roster, but after a demanding battle of supremacy, David Otunga is the one to come out of here on top. The night continues on as the Bryan and Ryan Connection defend the tag team titles against Michael McGillicuddy and Alex Riley. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan are looking to rebound after suffering their first loss since becoming champions and experiencing a little bit of turmoil. Michael McGillicuddy and Alex Riley, a couple of guys looking to make names for themselves, and have quickly shot up the ranks within the tag team division. The match was very entertaining as these two teams matched up well and made for a very competitive contest. While both teams faced challenges in this match, Alex Riley and Michael McGillicuddy were able to outlast the champions, and thanks to an Impaler DDT, would call themselves the new title holders of the tag team division. Raw's final showing of the evening will bring the Rated R superstar back in the WWE title picture, as he is looking to bring down the Beast Incarnate, the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. Edge has scrapped to earn his way back into the main event spotlight, and intends on coming through in the clutch once more, as he has done so many times throughout his career already. Overcoming Brock Lesnar is no easy feat though, as Brock Lesnar has established himself as one of, if not the most powerful wrestlers on the roster. Lesnar's sheer strength and intensity is unmatched here in the WWE, but Edge is one of the most cunning and opportunistic stars in the history of the business. Both men were determined to leave the TLC pay-per-view as champion, though only one will actually fulfill his goal. Edge was looking good as he consistently kept pressure on Lesnar, imposing his own offense and never giving the champion a chance to truly create any separation, and there was no telling who was going to be the one unable to answer a 3 count, because both men displayed the fire of a champion and refused to stay down. As the match began to come to a close, Edge's championship reign was looking more and more likely. However, Lesnar would answer with an F5 out of nowhere. That would in fact keep Edge down for the count, allowing Brock Lesnar to retain his championship. As Lesnar's celebration took place, a momentary exchange of respect seemed to be on the cusp between Edge and Lesnar. However, John Morrison would come and crash the party, taking out both men and making a claim for Morrison's own spot in the main event scene. In the final match of the night, Randy Orton defends his World Heavyweight Championship in a TLC match against Sheamus and The Undertaker. This is truly a star-studded matchup, with all three of these major players heading straight on a collision course to achieve renown and notoriety. Randy Orton, the new World Heavyweight Champion, is facing extremely steep odds to remain on top of SmackDown here, as he has two vicious challengers coming after his title. Sheamus, the former champion, has grown accustomed to wearing championship gold during his time here in the WWE, regardless of the brand that he has been on, and is intent on regaining that championship to fulfill his ego. While The Undertaker, the Phenom, never truly lost his World Heavyweight Championship, but rather had to vacate the title due to injury. The dead man is focused on getting back on top of the mountain, but also to serve cold vengeance to his adversaries to make up for lost time in the ring. This made for an extremely volatile situation, and with all of the weapons surrounding the ring, The carnage that ensued was only expedited. Sheamus displayed his might and power, and The Undertaker showed that he hadn't missed a step following his time away. And the champion, Randy Orton, proved that he arguably is in his prime of an already storied career. Another tale of uncertainty and pandemonium took place, and after the dust had settled, Randy Orton overcame the odds and was able to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. The Royal Rumble is ready to begin, and this massive night will be kicked off with Edge challenging the United States Champion Dolph Ziggler for his title. Ziggler's cocky reign as the US Champion has drawn the ire of Edge, who is looking for new accolades. The Rated R superstar claims Ziggler's arrogance is disrespectful to the championship's legacy, while Ziggler is determined to prove he's truly the best in the business by bringing down one of the WWE's most decorated veterans. These two have been scheduled to compete locked within the confines of a steel cage to determine a definitive champion. Edge, who has been rubbing shoulders with main eventers and all-time greats, is in peak form coming into this encounter, although Dolph Ziggler is slowly becoming one of the WWE's most consistent performers and has been building an impressive resume for himself since becoming champion. This match featured moments that favored both competitors, however Edge continued to fight back, although his efforts would come up short as Ziggler once again struck Edge down, this time from the top of the cage. This gave Ziggler enough time and separation to get his ass out of that cage, resulting in a successful title defense. In the next match, Drew McIntyre defends his Intercontinental Championship against Mark Henry, having dethroned The Miz for the Intercontinental title and following up with a successful title defense against Kofi Kingston. Drew McIntyre asserts that he's the chosen one, finally fulfilling his destiny. Mark Henry, riding high on the momentum of his recent dominant streak, challenges McIntyre's claims. Drew McIntyre's cunning and aggression face off against Mark Henry's incredible power in this clash for the prestigious championship, and the crowd was buzzing, eager to see who was going to walk away from this one the Intercontinental Champion. Mark Henry's controlling and draining offense would eventually take over during this one, and the champion found himself in a less than ideal situation with his back against the wall. In the end, Mark Henry hit the world's strongest slam, crowning a new Intercontinental Champion, much to the shock of Drew McIntyre, and things may not be looking great for the chosen one. The Women's Championship is on the line in the next contest as Maryse defends the Women's Championship against Eve Torres. Eve Torres has raised her game since pairing up with Brock Lesnar, and was quick to cement her legacy as she unseated Beth Phoenix and took hold of the women's division. The opportunistic Maryse was able to become champion in a hectic multi-woman match, though she has got to answer to the former champion in this one-on-one scenario. Maryse has never been known for her technical prowess, but she is a crafty one in the ring. However, Eve Torres has become a serious competitor in the women's division and is able to take down Maryse and recapture the women's championship. John Morrison has got his chance to write his name in the stars as he received a one-on-one opportunity to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. John Morrison has been transforming his career since the beginning of this universe mode, and it could culminate with a World Championship victory if he can knock off Brock Lesnar. However, that will be much easier said than done considering Lesnar has been dominant since his return to the WWE. It's clear that John Morrison is well aware of the opportunity that is in front of him, as he came out of the gate hot and took control of the match immediately. That control did not last long though, as the champion soon fought back, unleashing his trademark suplexes and wearing down John Morrison. The challenger wasn't going to go away easily, and the aid and interference from Michael McGillicuddy came in clutch on a number of occasions for Morrison. The challenger pulled out all the stops and did everything he could to keep the powerful champion at bay. However, Brock Lesnar proved to be too powerful and would hit a huge F5, ending John Morrison's title aspirations and securing the WWE Championship in a statement to the rest of the locker room. The final one-on-one matchup of the evening is set to be a big one, as Randy Orton defends his World Heavyweight Championship against The Undertaker. Two of WWE's biggest names will meet in the ring, as tensions between these two have been brewing since The Undertaker made his return to the roster just a few months ago. Since then, Randy Orton has been ruling SmackDown as World Heavyweight Champion, and has no intentions of surrendering that title here tonight, or anytime soon for that matter. Randy Orton's championship reign will truly be put to the test here, as these two iconic forces are prepared to leave it all in the ring in order to walk out the champion. While The Undertaker may not have claimed the championship back at the last pay-per-view, the Phenom has not been pinned since his return, and has caused just as much chaos as ever. A physical match came from these two, and they've also got plenty of history between them, meaning they'll have to be on top of their game to walk out as champion. An RKO seemed to be enough to retain the title, but the dead man would kick out of a pin attempt. The two had no ounce of quit in them, as they kept coming after the other with malicious intent. The Undertaker was eager to win the match and put Orton down quickly, but the champion never wavered. A tombstone piledriver spelled the end for the champion. However, Randy Orton would benefit from his positioning in the ring and reach the ropes. The Undertaker hit a chokeslam, and then the last ride, though that would not cut it. Another tombstone came for the champion, but once again, Randy Orton's toes got him a rope break. This was a battle of attrition, and Randy Orton had to do something if he wanted to remain champion. Randy Orton would hit an RKO, and the championship seemed to be retained until Undertaker would surprisingly kick out, extending this match. Frustrations were building between both of these guys, and the crowd were treated to a phenomenal match as a result. Randy Orton found his way out of the last ride, and there was no telling what was going to happen next. The Undertaker had Randy set up for a third tombstone piledriver, and this time, Orton could not reach the ropes and was unable to kick out. After a fantastic match, The Undertaker reclaimed the championship he never lost. It's time for the Royal Rumble match. 30 superstars will compete, fighting for a chance to headline WrestleMania and challenge for a world championship. CM Punk will enter this match first, facing some extremely steep odds to come out of this one victorious. He'll be joined by R-Truth, who has had an interesting tenure here in this universe mode, but he will go on to appear in every WWE game that has been made since, so he isn't going anywhere. Santino Marella was the next to join the match, and he was in no rush to disrupt the action. R-Truth surprisingly eliminated CM Punk just when Marella made it into the ring, bringing a shock straight out of the gate. Although this was not a precursor for success, as R-Truth was eliminated shortly after, and Santino Marella would be taken out by Alberto Del Rio. The ring began to slowly fill up with stars like Daniel Bryan and Kane, bringing upon more commotion in the ring with multiple competitors in at a time. Captain Charisma took out Daniel Bryan, and he certainly wasn't stoked about it. The Royal Rumble had an interesting pace to it, as eliminations would happen quickly, and we would not see the ring fill up like the fans had grown accustomed to. Stars would come and go, and the ring would slowly begin to fill. John Cena made a big return from injury as well, and he certainly made an impact, though he would not go the distance, as Rey Mysterio would be the one to eliminate him. Arn Anderson came back for more action in this Rumble, but he would be eliminated quickly. As the match was winding down, Triple H's WrestleMania hopes took a hit after being eliminated by former member of the Raw roster, Sheamus. The numbers were dwindling, and we would even see Randy Orton come back for more right after competing in the previous match, but Wade Barrett would knock out the Viper for good in a measure of revenge after Orton took his Money in the Bank briefcase. Sheamus was taken out of the match, and Demolition member Axe was the next to enter in a surprise moment. The Miz was launched out of the ring, and we were down to the final three: Big Show, Wade Barrett, and Demolition Axe. What a group. Things were not looking great for Wade Barrett until Big Show made a timely save. The Giant would then chokeslam the legend out of the ring, and at least the Royal Rumble winner was going to be an active competitor. Wade Barrett and Big Show win at it until Big Show would eliminate the former Nexus leader and secure a place in the WrestleMania main event. He's no D.H. Smith, but Big Show has made history. If you're interested in getting your hands on the prompts used for this universe mode, check out the Patreon, link is in the description. On the Raw following the Royal Rumble, Triple H opens up the show, stating his mission to dethrone Brock Lesnar at Elimination Chamber. Big Show then appears, insisting his size advantage will be needed to finally stop Brock Lesnar. Edge joins as well, feeding tension and challenging both men to prove they deserve a spot in the chamber. Michael McGillicuddy and Alex Riley are in action and defending their tag team championships against the former champions, Mason Ryan and Daniel Bryan, who are hungry to regain their titles. Although, the new stars stood tall and were able to defeat the Bryan and Ryan connection, retaining their championship. Women's champion Eve Torres in singles competition against Beth Phoenix. This is a battle between two of the most dominant women in the WWE this past year, and they are looking to determine superiority with a physical contest here. Beth Phoenix seemed to have the match won until Layla came in to distract the referee, notioning that she deserves to be considered for contention as well, and in the end, Beth Phoenix would come out on top. In the main event of the night, a triple threat featuring Big Show, Triple H, and Edge will serve as an indirect preview of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. This is the first qualifying match to compete in the Elimination Chamber, granting the right to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship in just a few weeks, and there are more open spots that have yet to be determined. The Royal Rumble winner, Big Show, is in an odd position as he does not want to wait until WrestleMania for his shot and is looking to gain entry into the WWE title match at Elimination Chamber. This was a fast-paced match featuring superstars that are no strangers to the main event scene, and after high-impact moves were administered throughout the match, the Cerebral Assassin was able to take advantage, hitting a pedigree to secure the victory and the first spot in the Elimination Chamber against Brock Lesnar. Randy Orton opens up SmackDown. He calmly states that he's already conquered legends, and this time, he plans to do the unthinkable: defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, regaining his World Heavyweight Championship in the process. The in-ring action started in a big way with a 6-man tag team match, with the team of Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and Wade Barrett taking on the team of Christian, Rey Mysterio, and CM Punk. The top flight superstars taking part in this match made for an intense atmosphere, as an impressive performance here could make a contender out of any of these participants. It was a long battle, and an exciting way to get SmackDown started. In the end, Alberto Del Rio would be able to secure a pinfall on CM Punk, taking home the match for his team. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio get into a war of words after the frustrating loss. CM Punk mocks Rey's desire to be near the world title picture, and Rey blames Punk for losing the match. Mysterio would challenge CM Punk to a match next week. We've got singles action in the next match, as Kofi Kingston and Husky Harris were set to lock up. This was a highly entertaining match between two intriguing young talents. Kofi Kingston has been around for a while now, and is looking to reposition himself as a contender again after recently coming up short in an Intercontinental title bout. However, Kofi Kingston would hit a Trouble in Paradise and secure the victory. Tonight's main event features Randy Orton and Mark Henry butting heads and going at it in an intense clash. Randy Orton would display his cunning and Mark Henry would display his unrelentless power. However, Randy Orton would win after countering the World's Strongest Slam into an RKO. Post-match, The Undertaker's gong sounds and the lights flicker. Orton would smirk, undaunted by the mind games. The next installment of Monday Night Raw opens with Triple H bragging about securing his spot in the Elimination Chamber. Brock Lesnar would interrupt the game, doubting Triple H will be able to outlast the other competitors, let alone the champion. Big Show and Ezekiel Jackson are in the next match, and the Royal Rumble winner has an opportunity to redeem his loss from the week prior. Ezekiel Jackson knew he was fading into obscurity on the roster and had to make an impact here. Unfortunately for the VIP enforcer, Big Show would come out on top here in this one, securing a spot along Triple H and Brock Lesnar within the Elimination Chamber, despite having secured a title match at WrestleMania already. Cody Rhodes and John Morrison argue before their match tonight. Morrison would claim that Cody Rhodes can't handle losing. Rhodes would then threaten to humble John Morrison. Their match would begin after a short commercial break, and John Morrison and Cody Rhodes were vying for superiority. However, John Morrison would win with the Starship Pain after a hard-fought, flashy match. The main event of the night will be another Elimination Chamber qualifying match, as Edge gets another shot at Dolph Ziggler, though this will be a non-title contest. Both of these guys have been competing at a high level, and Ziggler just came out on top against Edge in a steel cage match at the Royal Rumble, though he never scored a pinfall over the former world champion. Edge was looking for a bit of payback and brought it to the US champion, and Edge would eventually seal the match with a spear, locking in his place in the Elimination Chamber. After the match, John Morrison and his goons make an appearance, attempting to intimidate the Rated R superstar, but Edge wasn't going to back down. Jack Swagger opened the next edition of SmackDown with a convincing victory over Santino Marella, dominating his opponent and sending a message to the roster in the process. After the match, Jack Swagger would make the claim that he is coming for Mark Henry's Intercontinental title. Randy Orton cuts a chilling promo where he admits The Undertaker's psychological tactics are legendary, but claims his own cunning surpasses anything Undertaker has faced. He teases a master plan in place to bring down the dead man. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio are set to go toe-to-toe in the next contest. These are two main event caliber stars that were teammates just last week and will find themselves competing against one another in the Elimination Chamber as well. Though momentum was exchanged multiple times throughout this match, and Rey hit a big 619 and it seemed to be the end of the contest, but CM Punk continued to fight on. Punk would lock in the Anaconda Vice, but Rey broke out and this match continued. It really could have gone either way, and this is just a taste of what we're going to get at the Elimination Chamber. A big kick out after a frog splash came to a huge surprise, and a second Anaconda Vice would wrap up the match in CM Punk's favor. The main event brings the World Heavyweight Champion, The Undertaker, into the ring with the formidable Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett, now riding solo, can give himself a massive push if he can pull off the upset and defeat the World Heavyweight Champion. Although, that is much easier said than done, as The Undertaker displays that his in-ring capabilities are still top tier, and has not lost the reputation of an unforgiving competitor. Wade Barrett does prove that he is a solid superstar with a bright future ahead, but he is just not on the level of The Undertaker right now, and succumbs to the Tombstone Piledriver. After the match, Randy Orton's at the stage. The Undertaker does not waver, and the two share a brief and distant confrontation as the night comes to an end. We're back on Raw, and we're looking to get started with one of the final qualifying matches to determine the participants in the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship on Sunday. Kane and William Regal will start the in-ring competition. Now, I'm all for a good underdog story, but the majority of these qualifying matches have all been rather lopsided. Kane would deliver a powerful chokeslam and carve out his spot in the WWE Championship match. Layla is in action against the Women's Champion, and she is looking to insert herself into contention. Layla is a former champion in her own right and came into this match focused to make an impact. Eve Torres has been tough to beat as of late, but Layla creates some justification to her plea for contention with a victory over the champion here. The final Elimination Chamber qualifying match brings Edge, someone who has already qualified, into a tricky situation as he faces a handicap match against John Morrison alongside the tag team champions Michael McGillicuddy and Alex Riley. If Edge loses this match, John Morrison will enter the Elimination Chamber. Pretty funky circumstances here, but what ChatGPT wants, ChatGPT will get. The rated R superstar didn't flinch when stepping into this lopsided encounter, and would bring a relentless arsenal of offense upon the group of goons. However, the numbers advantage were too great. While Edge would keep his spot in the chamber match, John Morrison has now entered the fray. And Morrison wasn't going to stop there, as he had intentions of injuring Edge like he did Cena, though John Cena would actually make his return to Raw here, bringing an end to the intended attack and closing out the night with Cena and Edge standing together. The next episode of SmackDown began with the new Intercontinental Champion Mark Henry picking up a victory over Heath Slater, wrapping his victory up with the World's Strongest Slam. This would regain some momentum after the loss 2 weeks ago, and the champion then made a statement that he will take on any challenger. Kofi Kingston confronts Evan Bourne backstage, denouncing the attitude he now carries himself with and expressing his disappointment in his former friend. Evan Bourne would shrug this notion off and state that he owes Kofi nothing. Christian and Alberto Del Rio are scheduled to compete mano a mano in the next match. Both of these guys will be taking part of the SmackDown Elimination Chamber on Sunday, where the winner will earn the opportunity to challenge the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Del Rio is accompanied by Sheamus, who definitely got his hands dirty in this one. Christian and Alberto Del Rio would put on another great match, as they have done before, and as their momentum bounced from person to person, Sheamus proved to be the difference maker as he was able to aid Alberto Del Rio by bringing a steel chair into the fold while the ref was down. Del Rio struck Christian and picked up a huge victory. The main event of the evening is scheduled to bring Rey Mysterio going one-on-one with The Undertaker in a non-title match. However, this match would not happen as the cameras would show Randy Orton carrying out an attack on The Undertaker backstage. The Undertaker would not make this an easy fight and would smack his challenger right in the mouth, taking the Viper back and unlocking another level of rage. This brawl would carry on for quite a while until Randy Orton would deliver a sickening knee strike, leaving the champion in a bad way and giving the challenger a serious advantage as they go into the title match in just a couple of days. The final pay-per-view before WrestleMania 27 is upon us. We have arrived to the Elimination Chamber. The night is set to begin with a high-intensity triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Layla and Beth Phoenix are each looking to take the title away and return it around their waist, and Eve Torres has every intention of retaining the championship she has now won for a second time. This match is held within the confines of a steel cage, which makes you wonder how they can suspend a steel cage and an elimination chamber, but I digress. These ladies have been competing at a high level all year and continue that trend by providing an entertaining and unpredictable match here. After a ton of back and forth, Beth Phoenix began to gain an upper hand, but Torres and Layla wouldn't let that be the end. The fight would continue on, and in the end, Eve Torres had to pick between bringing down Beth or Layla, and that would allow Layla to get her ass out of that cage and leave the Elimination Chamber as the women's champion. In the next match, Dolph Ziggler and Cody Rhodes are going one-on-one for the United States Championship, and they will be determining the true champion by making this one a ladder match. This is a battle between two extremely bright stars in the making here in the WWE. Dolph was inches away from retaining his championship, but Cody would bring him further away from his goal. Dolph hit a huge sunset flip off the ladder, followed by a famouser, to keep Cody down long enough, allowing him to come out of this one still United States Champion in a surprising conclusion. The tag team champions Michael McGillicuddy and Alex Ryan are set to defend their tag team titles against a surprising duo, Demolition. And not only do they have a legendary team making the challenge, but they are also accompanied by John Cena at ringside, who has his own issues with Riley and McGillicuddy. The champions began the match, quickly establishing control and implementing tandem offense. Demolition Axe and Smash had to absorb some punishment, but eventually they were able to turn in some offense of their own. As the match reached full throttle, these two teams traded momentum and punishing moves. The champions went on a run that gave the impression they were walking out of here successfully, but a sleeper hold would stop the champions right in their tracks, and they would shockingly drop the titles to the returning legends. The next match of the night brings the Intercontinental Champion Mark Henry in action as he is set to defend his championship against Jack Swagger. Both of these guys have spent most of the year trying to establish themselves as a serious contender. While they haven't succeeded in capturing a world championship, they have carved out roles as tough competitors that can make a big impact at any time. Jack Swagger's natural ability was a great matchup against Mark Henry's unmatched strength, and the stakes of being champion amplified this match. Mark Henry applied his unforgiving bear hug, and Jack Swagger was able to escape before he had to submit. Jack Swagger's unwavering determination propelled him to land a huge gut-wrench powerbomb on the super heavyweight, but decided against going for the cover here for whatever reason. This would prove costly, as the world's strongest man would lock in another bear hug, and this one Swagger would not escape from, being forced to submit, and Mark Henry successfully defended his Intercontinental Championship. Our next contest has the Viper, Randy Orton, challenging the Phenom, The Undertaker, for the World Heavyweight Championship. The rivalry between these two has become more personal by the week, as they have rekindled the issues with one another, as their paths have crossed long ago. However, that was a different Randy Orton, and the Viper is intent on proving the dead man that he isn't the young kid he was the last time they shared a program together. Despite losing the World Heavyweight title, the challenger is optimistic about his chances of unseating the Phenom, whose return to the WWE was met with great anticipation and excitement, as well as another run with the world title. The Undertaker delivered a thunderous last ride powerbomb and would secure the World Heavyweight Championship with a Tombstone Piledriver. The next match is the SmackDown Elimination Chamber, and 6 top-flight superstars are competing for the chance at the World Heavyweight title come WrestleMania 27. CM Punk, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Alberto Del Rio, and Christian all came into this match with the intentions of becoming champion at the grandest stage of them all. Many of these superstars have been intertwined with one another in some fashion as the year has culminated into these final weeks, but unpredictability was still at the forefront of this enduring battle. Sheamus, one of the favorites to win the match, would surprisingly be the first one eliminated after CM Punk forced him to submit. The high level of star power in this match meant the action was constantly running at full speed, and nobody in this match had any time to breathe or recollect themselves. As the match waged on, stars began to fall, and we would see the number of competitors shrink. CM Punk would be eliminated second, and it wouldn't be long before Rey Mysterio was taken out. Christian was also removed from the match, and it came down to Wade Barrett and Alberto Del Rio. The match had taken its toll on these competitors, and that was evident as Wade Barrett was able to capitalize and defeat Alberto Del Rio, crowning him as the last man standing and earning a world title shot at WrestleMania. The main event of the evening is Raw's iteration of the Elimination Chamber, and the winner of this match will walk out as the WWE Champion. Brock Lesnar will have to outlast 5 other superstars in order to retain his championship, and these are some seriously talented contenders to have to stack up against. There was only one guy in this match, John Morrison, who had not been a WWE champion before, which is a testament to the level of talent in this contest, especially considering Morrison is no slouch either. There was familiarity in the ring, but there were no alliances in this match. This was evident after, despite working together for just a moment to punish the champion, Big Show would hit a huge chokeslam on Kane and eliminate his former tag team partner. Brock Lesnar and Triple H made for an awesome sequence as they both hit their finishers, though while John Morrison would eat the pin, Big Show would resoundingly kick out of a pedigree. Big Show could have one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, no pun intended, if he could win the WWE Championship here and then go on to win the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania. Triple H was eliminated after taking an F5, and Big Show's dream scenario may just come to fruition. However, Brock Lesnar would hit another F5, this time on the massive athlete, and wrap up the WWE Championship, standing tall in one of the unlikeliest scenarios as the night came to a close. If you're excited for the series to continue on WWE 13, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the continuation of ChatGPT's Universe Mode. If we can get the video up to 500 likes, we'll be rolling out the next season in WWE 13. On the Raw following the pay-per-view, Big Show is in the ring to open up the evening. The Giant claims his shortcomings at Elimination Chamber are inconsequential, given he still has his main event spot at WrestleMania, which he will use to dethrone Brock Lesnar. Triple H would interrupt Big Show, stating he no longer deserves his WrestleMania spot and should have to forfeit it. This would lay the foundation for a big main event tonight. In the first match of the evening, United States Champion Dolph Ziggler is facing R-Truth in a non-title match. Ziggler is coming off a highly competitive ladder match and is carrying some of that momentum here, allowing him to take care of R-Truth by forcing him to submit. After the match, Ziggler would claim that he is the greatest United States champion in recent memory. Backstage, the VIP are being interviewed, in which they express their disgust that a couple of has-beens like Demolition have become the tag team champions, and they intend on changing that. In the next match, Edge is in action still dealing with John Morrison and his boys, as Alex Riley is going one-on-one with the Ultimate Opportunist. This was a display of a legend past his prime, but still a great competitor butting heads with a young talent that has the potential to be something great if he doesn't get released before his potential could be realized. An entertaining match came from these two, but Edge would be the one to come out on top here. In the main event, Big Show and Kane have reunited to take on the team of Brock Lesnar and Triple H. This is a huge clash of stars, all who have had their hand well within the WWE title scene throughout the year, making for a highly competitive battle that would challenge every man involved. The champion, Brock Lesnar, has got to keep his wits about him, as even his partner has their eye on his WWE Championship. All of this uncertainty may have knocked the champion off of his game a bit, or maybe it was the non-existent time in between the Elimination Chamber and Monday Night Raw, but Big Show made a big statement when he pinned the champion to secure a win for his team, leaving Brock Lesnar furious as the show goes off air. The Undertaker stands in the ring with his World Heavyweight Championship, proclaiming that Randy Orton's arrogance costed him the World Heavyweight title. He calls out Wade Barrett, daring him to try his luck tonight if he wants to rest in peace early. Kofi Kingston is granted a Cruiserweight Championship match against Evan Bourne to start off the in-ring competition. Evan Bourne is one of the few recent Cruiserweight champions who have a successful title defense in recent memory, and is looking for another. However, Kofi Kingston came into this one with sheer intensity, overwhelming the champion and marking a new accolade for the extremely talented Kingston. Wade Barrett takes stage in the ring, boasting about his recent success and his guaranteed title shot. He demands an opportunity before WrestleMania to dethrone Undertaker. Sheamus would interrupt Barrett, scoffing at the notion and stating he is the one who deserves a shot before WrestleMania. The next match brings the Intercontinental Champion back in the ring as Mark Henry faces a rather large opponent in Vladimir Kozlov, who unfortunately for him, ChatGPT just doesn't see as anything more than enhancement talent, and takes the loss to the champion. The main event is a huge match, as The Undertaker will not make Wade Barrett wait until WrestleMania for the title match he earned at Elimination Chamber. A massive battle for the World Heavyweight Championship is underway, and neither man was going to give in, as The Undertaker knows what it takes to be in this position, and Wade Barrett is intent on making good on this opportunity. Ever since his return, The Undertaker has shown no mercy on anyone on the SmackDown roster, and with another impressive performance in the works, it seemed that The Undertaker was going to take down another threat to his championship. The Phenom hit the Tombstone Piledriver, and victory was right on the cusp, but Wade Barrett wasn't giving up easily either. As the match continued, Randy Orton made his way ringside and would ultimately make a huge impact on this match, as he would feed Wade Barrett a chair at an opportune time, shocking the crowd as he went for the cover, though The Undertaker refused to allow his reign to end this way, and would send a shockwave through the audience as he himself kicked out. Wade Barrett and Randy Orton couldn't believe it, but Barrett had to lock in, as this match was not over yet. While the champion did kick out, it was clear he had taken a great deal of damage, and Wade Barrett would continue to keep the pressure on, eventually hitting a wasteland slam that would spell the end for the Phenom, ending the show in a truly shocking change of hands of the World Heavyweight Championship just weeks before WrestleMania. To open up the next episode of Raw, Edge and returning John Cena are set to compete in a handicap match against the trio of John Morrison, Michael McGillicuddy, and Alex Riley. John Cena was taken out of action and forced to miss the Royal Rumble thanks to this group, and the two veterans are looking for some revenge. Cena and Edge did their best to isolate John Morrison, the leader of the group, and their approach was rather effective. However, the gang of goons would take advantage of the numbers and ultimately score another victory on the pair of former world champions. Ahead of their tag team match, Demolition Smash was found beaten down backstage. This would change the scheduled tag team match into a singles match, as Demolition Axe now had to take on Zack Ryder one-on-one. It's clear the VIP are intent on snatching the tag team titles back from Demolition, but they've come up short countless times before. Axe brought power and control into this match, and Zack Ryder had a tough time overcoming the slow-paced offense of one half of the tag team champions. And despite the best efforts made by Ryder, Axe would come out on top here, and in a strange sequence, Axe would then be confronted by SmackDown competitor Drew McIntyre. What could this mean? Is McIntyre the attacker? Is he joining the VIP? Or will this all end up being totally irrelevant and unrelated? The main event of the night is a table match between Triple H and Big Show. Triple H feels that Big Show is undeserving of the WWE title shot at WrestleMania, considering he lost in the Elimination Chamber, not acknowledging the fact that Triple H himself also came up short in that very match. Nonetheless, Triple H has been given an opportunity. If he can secure a victory here, he will insert himself into the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, making the one-on-one contest a triple threat. This wouldn't be the first time these two have shared the main event spotlight at WrestleMania, though Big Show is intent on keeping his one-on-one opportunity just that, a one-on-one opportunity, and he would do so thanks to the puzzling interference from Ezekiel Jackson. Regardless, Big Show speared Triple H through a table to end the match and secure his one-on-one match at WrestleMania. Randy Orton is in the ring to start the show, ready to explain his actions. Randy Orton states that after losing to The Undertaker at Elimination Chamber, this rivalry has become personal. Randy Orton acknowledges that he can win the world title at any time, but can only end The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak once. Randy Orton officially lays the challenge to the Phenom for a one-on-one contest at the grandest stage of them all. New Cruiserweight Champion Kofi Kingston is set to make his first title defense against Chavo Guerrero. It's been some time since Kofi Kingston has held a championship here in the WWE, and he is fired up to once again be doing so, as made evident by his high level of energy and exhilarating offense. Chavo has had a great year and can always make the case to contend for the Cruiserweight title, but Kofi is on a roll and delivers a dominant title defense. Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus confront Wade Barrett backstage, belittling his accomplishment and denouncing it as a tainted win. Wade Barrett fires back, stating they should be more concerned with their own dwindling relevance. Rey Mysterio and CM Punk are once again going one-on-one here on SmackDown, as both are looking to get back on track after coming up short at the Elimination Chamber. Another exciting contest was in store from these two, and their familiarity is causing the necessity of throwing different offenses at their adversary here. CM Punk scored the victory last time these guys locked up, and is looking to score a second in a row. However, his aspirations were cut, and he took the loss here, much to his own surprise. After the match, CM Punk took his frustrations out on Rey, and carried out an attack on the masked luchador. The main event of the night is a big tag team match, as Intercontinental Champion Mark Henry and Christian are teaming up to do battle with Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. This was a collision of two powerful teams, with each individual a formidable competitor. Sheamus displayed his might, and Alberto displayed his cunning, as the heels began to take control. Christian's undying resilience and Mark Henry's incomparable power would keep this team in the fight. However, Sheamus would ultimately end the match by securing a pin on Christian, with the heels making a big statement to end the night. Back on Raw, John Cena opens up the night with a promo. Cena speaks to John Morrison, his former friend, tag team partner, and big match John. He challenges Morrison to a match at WrestleMania, a loser leaves town match, to finally settle their differences. John Morrison would come out and accept this challenge, only on the condition that a title match would be awaiting him after putting John Cena down for good. Daniel Bryan and Mason Ryan will clash in a battle between the Bryan and Ryan connection, as the winner here will be declared the #1 contender to Dolph Ziggler's United States Championship, and the match would take place at WrestleMania on top of that. These partners engaged in a battle that could propel themselves into superstardom, even knowing it may be at the expense of a friend. However, these two are competitors and know what's at stake, and certainly don't expect their partner to take it easy. It was a back and forth battle between two guys who know each other very well, and in the end, Daniel Bryan would be the one to come out on top, securing a shot at Dolph Ziggler's championship. After the match, The Miz would make an appearance, touting that he too will be coming for the United States Championship at WrestleMania on Sunday. The final women's match on WWE 12 will feature Layla defending her championship against Kelly Kelly. Layla is intent on walking into WWE 13 as the women's champion, although Kelly Kelly, certainly the underdog in this situation, is determined to pull off the upset and snatch the title from Layla. The champion was aggressive, but Kelly Kelly wouldn't be shaken, as she would pull off the big upset and capture the women's championship. The main event of Raw has Triple H and Kane squaring off. This has been a storied rivalry throughout the year, and these two big names are going to close out the final Raw of the WWE 12 era with another physical battle. While there may not be much on the line in this one, these guys are intense competitors and intend on doing damage anytime they step in the ring. A fine match was on display, and Triple H would hit another pedigree to take home the victory. After the match, these veterans displayed a show of respect after the numerous times they've tried to tear one another apart this year. SmackDown opens up with the camera capturing Rey Mysterio and CM Punk brawling with one another backstage. These two are entwined in a highly personal feud and will look to settle their differences at WrestleMania as Rey puts his mask on the line. Santino Marella and Yoshitatsu are set to go toe-to-toe in the next match in a collision of extremely relevant members of the roster. While their tenures haven't been uber successful, these are two beloved talents and capable workers who were finally given an opportunity to put on a competitive match for the fans. They delivered when given the chance, and Yoshitatsu came out of this one on top. The Undertaker cuts a promo in an eerie location, stating that he is not afraid of Randy Orton, and losing the World Heavyweight Championship did not faze him. The Phenom would remind Orton of the countless names that have all fallen at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton will soon be reminded of what it feels like. Mark Henry has his hands full as he is set to defend his Intercontinental Championship against Alberto Del Rio. The champion has been carrying a great deal of momentum since he won the gold, but the size of the target on his back continues to grow with each successful title defense. Alberto Del Rio has consistently been making an impact since his arrival here on SmackDown, though he has not earned any gold to show for it. Mark Henry has managed to transform the state of his career over the past year and is looking to build on his recent success. The rugged style of Alberto Del Rio and the powerful menace that is Mark Henry made for a match that could go either way, and in the end, Alberto Del Rio would unseat the champion and earn his first singles accolade here in the WWE. The main event of the evening and the final match before WrestleMania 27 will feature the World Heavyweight Champion Wade Barrett going one-on-one with Christian. Wade Barrett has had quite the year, as we saw him take part in the formation and dissolution of the Nexus, an intercontinental title reign, winning the Money in the Bank, losing the Money in the Bank, and now becoming world champion. Naturally, this would make him a favorable target to defeat, and if Christian could come away victorious here, might just find himself with some plans for WrestleMania. Although that wasn't going to be easy, as Wade Barrett was determined to deliver a strong showcase as new champion. After a Wasteland Slam, the champion would in fact come out of this one on top. After the match, Sheamus appeared and attacked Wade Barrett, stating he will be challenging for the World Heavyweight title in just a couple of days. We have finally arrived at WrestleMania 27. It's been a huge year full of twists and turns, and the night is set to start off with a huge World Heavyweight Championship match between the challenger Sheamus and the champion Wade Barrett. These two men have emerged as elite young talents who may just become the faces of the company over time. Sheamus has been one of the most dominant and fierce competitors in the WWE, and Wade Barrett has had one of the most storied first years on the main roster of all time, though it's not often the champion is coming into his own title match as the underdog. While this match has not had a ton of build to it, there is plenty at stake, as being recognized as the best in the business is a driving force for both of these superstars. The hard-hitting and physical nature of these two heavyweights made for a ground-shaking battle of wills. Sheamus hit the brogue kick and Wade Barrett looked to be relinquishing the championship, though Barrett would overcome his adversary here and land a Wasteland Slam that would cement Wade Barrett as a rightful champion and tough as nails. The next match of the night will see the tag team championships on the line, as the legendary team of Demolition is going to defend the tag team titles against the VIP, Zack Ryder and Ted DiBiase Jr., in a clash of generations. Demolition represents the early 90s and late 80s, whereas the VIP represents the present and the future. Ryder and DiBiase made this rivalry personal by launching attacks on the Demolition members, keeping them on their toes and not allowing them to stay at 100%. The champions came out strong though, showing they weren't going to allow a few measly attacks to keep them down, although that wasn't going to win the match, and the cocky young superstars continued to keep their offense at full force. In the end, the VIP would take down the legendary tag team, regaining the championships for themselves. John Cena and John Morrison are once again going one-on-one here at WrestleMania, and this time, the loser has got to see his way out of the WWE. These two electrified the tag team title scene in the SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 season, and truly defined the United States title division on Raw shortly after, and not to mention, have constantly found themselves included in the main event picture throughout this universe mode. The flash and style of John Morrison and the power and grit of John Cena made for a compelling tale of jealousy, betrayal, and perseverance. John Morrison had been holding the upper hand on John Cena for some time, even putting him on the shelf for a while, but John Cena would get the last laugh, as he picked up the victory here, and would send his former partner on his way. Another grudge match is on deck as CM Punk and Rey Mysterio face off in a highly personal contest where if Rey loses, he must forfeit his mask. CM Punk has been unhinged since taking a loss at the hands of Rey, someone who CM Punk believes is not the same wrestler he used to be. Each man holds a victory over the other in recent weeks, and a victory here will establish some great momentum to build off of in the next year. High-impact moves were exchanged throughout this match, and the crowd was left on their feet during the duration of this contest. Rey fought with everything he had, and he wasn't going to let his mask get taken away from him. Again, a GTS was hit and it was not looking good for Rey, but he kicked out and kept fighting. A 619 was landed, but that wasn't the end of the match either. These two continued to beat each other down, but Rey would ultimately land a big frog splash that would end the match in his favor, keeping his mask in his possession. In the next match, The Miz and Daniel Bryan challenged Dolph Ziggler for the United States Championship in a ladder match. Daniel Bryan earned a title shot against Dolph Ziggler, who claimed to be the greatest United States champion in recent memory, which sparked a surprise appearance from The Miz, who came over to Raw to challenge Ziggler's confidence. All three of these guys are solid competitors, namely The Miz, who has a historic world championship reign under his belt, but hasn't been able to build that same kind of momentum since his injury, so he needs to re-establish himself through other means. Daniel Bryan has shined this year alongside Mason Ryan in the tag team division, but he is determined to prove that he is not a tag team competitor. The constant distractions from the opponents left an avenue where The Miz was able to capitalize on Dolph Ziggler's hands being full with Daniel Bryan, making way for a new United States champion in shocking fashion. It's time for the Raw main event, as Brock Lesnar defends his WWE Championship against Royal Rumble winner Big Show. There has been a shuffle of contenders stepping up only to be knocked down since Brock Lesnar has made his return to the WWE earlier in the year, and Big Show is a part of that list. What makes things different in this encounter? Big Show is riding a monstrous wave of momentum, of not just winning the Royal Rumble, but also scoring a pinfall victory over the champion in tag team action in a recent episode of Raw. Brock Lesnar's confidence has experienced some cracks, and this is clearly not the same unforgiving Brock Lesnar that we have grown to become used to. Big Show landed a massive right hand and thought he had the championship won, but Brock Lesnar would kick out, and maybe we are going to see the Lesnar of old pull through here. The champion displayed his unique strength and was setting up for an F5, but Big Show managed to get out of it. The Giant then planted the champion with a chokeslam, spelling the end, until Lesnar would once again kick out, and the match continued. The fans lost their minds when Brock Lesnar kicked out, as everyone in the arena was sure a new WWE champion was about to be crowned. Big Show didn't allow the celebration to last long though, as he would continue to pummel into Brock Lesnar until he was weak enough for the Giant to collect the pin. While Big Show is the larger man, it still felt like an upset, that nobody believed he would actually do it, because I certainly did not think he was going to pull that one out, but Big Show did in fact make history and become the new WWE champion. The WrestleMania main event, Randy Orton and The Undertaker are ready to go at it in a last man standing match. No championships on the line, just the pride of Randy Orton and the undefeated WrestleMania streak that belonged to The Undertaker. The crowd was immediately on their feet for this one, and the match had just gotten started. A ton of animosity had brewed between these two, as Randy Orton became obsessed with dethroning The Undertaker and casting the first blemish on his perfect WrestleMania record. After Randy Orton couldn't become the champion himself, he then felt the need to get involved elsewhere, ensuring The Undertaker lost the title, even if it wasn't the Viper taking the spot as champion. Orton believes the championship is temporary, but being the one to ruin The Undertaker's streak will make him immortal, to be remembered forever. This last man standing match will allow these top superstars to finally settle their differences, and it may just eliminate them in the process. The Undertaker came out focused and seemingly invincible, but Randy Orton certainly wasn't going to just roll over, and fought back, smacking the Phenom in the mouth, and reminding the WWE Universe that while his actions may be despicable at times, Randy Orton is a fearless competitor. This was a highly personal contest, and it wasn't enough to end the match with a pinfall, but instead beating your opponent so severely that he could not answer a 10 count, though the rage of The Undertaker would not be contained, and after another tombstone piledriver, we would see the dead man continue his WrestleMania streak, extending it to 19-0, though the night would end with Wade Barrett sending a message that he is the face of SmackDown, setting up some huge conflict for WWE 13. That's going to do it for the WWE 12 season of our ChatGPT universe mode. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you know when we launch the next season in WWE 13. Thank you so much to the real ones on Patreon. You guys are awesome and your support is greatly appreciated. As for everyone else, thank you for watching and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.